All right. Hey, welcome to the Speakeasy Podcast, episode 5. You guys know what we talk about: video games, movies, TV shows, and music.
Enjoyment.
Yes. While we smoke cigars and drink different types of liquor and spirits and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm your host, Bill Voigt, and
I am your second host, Kayman Hernandez.
Oh, well, welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing good, buddy. It's a little cold today.
It's a little chilly, a little rainy,
What are you smoking today?
Today, I am smoking a St. Louis Rey Reserva Especial. I'm assuming that's what it is because that's what it's on the paper.
Nice.
Other than that, it might be called Hecho a Mano. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I think your first assumption was more correct.
It might be, yeah.
I am currently smoking a SLR Titan. Sounds a lot cooler than it actually is. It's just a Cigar International knockoff brand, but it's pretty tasty. I'm currently smoking it with a match and not a lighter today.
Does it make it more enjoyable? Because we did have this one, episode 3, I believe it was.
I think for cheaper cigars, the flame is better. There's less chemical smell.
Yeah, it might be something like that. As he's puffing it, he's taking that sweet puff. Yep. All right, well, let's go ahead and move into the first segment of today's episode, where we go to the techno underground. So,
boots and cats and boots and cats and
boots and cats and boots and cats. All right. So the main thing, like we've mentioned multiple times on each of the episodes that we've talked about, we're going to be talking about Sony because they're going to keep doing stuff that we think is stupid.
Cayman, I require a round of applause. I actually canceled my PSN subscription.
That does deserve a round of applause. You get.
Thank you. Give me an attaboy. Okay, thank you.
Attaboy.
I am just tired of paying for the privilege to play online with friends.
I'm the same way. Like my buddy at work, he's one of the EMTs that I work with. He and I played Space Marine 2 together a little while ago, and he plays exclusively on PlayStation 5. But we want to go and play Ghost of Yote's Legends, the multiplayer mode for that. Yep. And I'd have to go and buy that game for one, and then two, get my PlayStation Premium. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't want to do that. Bad.
Considering the fact that I had the highest tier, and it was $159.99
a year
plus tax, and I already pay for expensive internet.
It's so crazy.
But what our topic is about this, besides just complaining about Sony in general, is that a lot of these tech companies are moving to requiring photo identification, verification, like your driver's license, passport, just to do things online. And I think you and I can agree that it is not about the protection of children, and it is about narrowing down the anonymity of people that are talking shit online about something or someone, and they can nail you. They can directly correlate an account with a person and where they live, and the government wants control, and the companies like Sony are just going to give it to them because they're a bunch of fucking bitches. Yeah,
I mean that's definitely one of the big concerns for sure. Is people not wanting to be caught for whatever they're going to say online. I mean, especially like Call of Duty already has a voice chat AI that checks what you're saying. The only other game I can kind of compare it to is like Roblox has voice chat in it, but it's like hella strict where you can't even say crap. Otherwise you'll just get banned from voice chat.
Isn't Roblox a kids game though?
Yes.
So I mean that makes sense.
Yes.
And that's actually kind of a cool thing to have a censored chat room, because kids don't really need to learn bad language at that age, right? They don't need to be, telling somebody they banged their mom at like 7.
Yeah.
Like it's stupid. Like it's stupid when we do it. But,
well, I mean, when I was younger, playing fucking Modern Warfare 2, right? Like I got so many people on voice chat, but then I just do the simple thing and just fucking disable voice chat or mute the people that are bullying me or whatever.
So what's funny is I don't know if you know this or not, but did you know how Valve got around that?
Around voice chat stuff?
No, around the required ID thing. Like they're not doing it. So what they did was, and I thought this was brilliant because they really do care about the average player, is rather than make you scan your ID, they're just they just told the courts, hey, you got to be 18 or older to have a credit card. So unless that person is going to commit fraud, that's how we do our age verification.
Interesting.
And
it's not a bad way to have it, honestly.
Dude, I hate to say it, but I feel like, the scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where Johnny Depp is floating to the dock and it's like the ship's going down.
Sailing down.
That's literally Valve and Gabe walking onto the deck and everybody else is underneath it. Like I really feel like I've got a couple buddies and they're not wrong when they say that I don't care about that kind of stuff because I have nothing to hide. But I think that they would be a little on the fence about having to give their photo ID on everything.
Well, I mean, shit, I think we didn't talk about it on any of the episodes, but like Discord has that feature trying to come in, but they had to delay it because everybody was so up in arms, and like they lost a ton of their Discord Nitro subscriptions.
1.5 million.
As to how much they've lost?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, like
I looked it up after you and I were talking about it because I want to see the repercussions, and I think Sony's going to do the same thing. They're going to continue to lose subscriptions. You shouldn't have to pay to play with friends online.
Agreed.
And that's one of the... I fought it for years.
How long ago... Because I remember that was like a main thing on like the Xbox 360 for sure, because PlayStation just had it built in, and then they'd introduced that.
They didn't have PlayStation Network built in. It was a lot more... PlayStation Network wasn't built in. You had to install it. You still had to install a PlayStation Network app.
Yeah.
In the very beginning. Not on the later versions of PlayStation 3. But PSN Online was free until PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they decided that they wanted more money.
Well, I think they were just copying what Microsoft is doing.
So, fun fact about Sony, and I think we talked about this a little bit, or maybe I did last episode. Sony had their hands in a lot of things: TVs, phones, camcorders, all the electronics. Well, all that shit's drying up. I mean, Sony sold the rights to Bravia, their awesome TVs, their technology, to a Chinese brand. And their phones don't sell worth a shit because when people that have Android have Pixel, Samsung, Motorola. They don't buy Sony phones because Sony never offers a discount. They don't offer them in any carriers. So, and Sony phones are always anywhere between $1,200 to $2,000.
Right.
And so they lost money because they were the king of the crop, and now there's a lot of other electronic companies out there doing a lot of the same things. So 60% of their revenue comes from PlayStation. So why wouldn't they take that cash cow? Figuratively speaking, it's a cash cow.
Cash cow for sure.
It is the definition of a cash cow, and milk their customers out of everything they can get. They didn't copy Microsoft because Microsoft was making a ton of money. They copied Microsoft because that's all they got now. So, in my opinion, this is just another cash grab, and they don't want to ruin that with the governments that are trying to imply like that. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it's very 1984. We know who you are. You have no anonymity online.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want. I try not to think about it not necessarily doom and gloom, but like not so negative. I guess I want to say
there's nothing negative about when people, governments, and corporations are banding together to step in on stuff. And to make things where they have more and more control. It's not negative to bring it up to people because they want us to be the product.
Right.
And
because we are the product for them. Yeah.
But we are a customer. And companies like Valve, and I know I preach this to the choir, but there's a lot of companies that aren't just Valve, we're talking about video games, that they treat us as a customer and not a product.
Right.
They know that we will always come to them if they do us right. Customer service, good deals on video games.
Food service has got that with Chick-fil-A, People go there for not even just because their food's good, but because the service is amazing.
Yeah, and so it's just right now the economy is, like we've said before, is not doing very well. And people are struggling, and I would be remiss to say that I'm not struggling a little bit, but at the same time, I don't have to give my money to somebody that the PlayStation Network hasn't offered anything worthwhile in 10 years. Like every game they offer you for your free monthly upgrades are games that were out like 3 or 4 years ago that you forgot that you even wanted to play.
Well, I mean, even Xbox is doing the same thing like that. Like they don't have any new games coming out.
They're trickling it down.
Yes.
They started off with trying to get everybody in.
Even knowing that I'm really, really hoping that Coalition can come together and actually make a good Gears of War game, because I really want Gears of War E-Day to be fantastic. But it's still Coalition, 1, and 2, it's also still Microsoft. So I have my what's the word?
Pre-order?
Pre-consumptions about it, I guess is the word. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly.
They've never made a bad Gears game. They've just made more of the same, and some of the games that were considered the worst, like Gears 5, it just had characters we didn't want to play.
I think Gears 5's problem mostly just came down to that the story was kind of boring and that nobody really cared about it. And they tried to do a lot of like interesting things where they were killing off certain characters or giving you the choice to kill off certain characters to make it more of an interesting aspect. But you didn't care, like you said, about some of those characters that were in it.
Yeah.
But I've played the multiplayer, and it's still really fun. And they have a lot of fun game modes in it for sure.
Because you don't have to care about the player. You want to just win.
Well, yeah, because I can play as fucking 60-year-old Marcus Phoenix going into the fucking Horde thing or whatever and just kicking ass and taking names, you know?
It is kind of weird when you're playing a story-based game and you're playing as a character, and if they die, you're like, finally. And you're not upset about it.
What's your season for, everybody?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not for the age. It's not for the children. It's for control. And if you care about your kids playing video games where it's an adult-based video game, like any parent knows Call of Duty is graphic and for adults. You know, if you're going to let your kid play that, and if a parent hears some other adult trying to, like, you know, be a creeper or saying some horrible things, it's the job of the parent to be involved with their children's hobbies.
100%.
And it's not Microsoft or Sony. They're not doing this for the good of
anybody,
us.
Really.
They're doing it because the governments are like, we want to know what they're doing. I mean,
I think that's a really good point that you brought up is you know, parents should be more involved, and especially with the games that they're paying
You're
for.
not going to give your kid a pistol at a gun range and then walk away from him and go, okay, Tommy, you got it.
Well, I mean, I also think about like GTA, right? Like everybody fucking wanted to play GTA, but that game is adult in nature.
I got a story. You ready for this?
Oh boy.
So when GTA Vice City was coming out, I was working at GameStop. This kid comes in, clearly under the age. He was like 14 years old, and he comes up and he goes, I want my pre-order of Vice City. And I said, well, where's your mom or dad? Because you have to have a parent here or a person over 18 to buy it for you. Well, mom comes in and goes, you know, oh, I'm here to get the game. And I'm like, man, you realize what this game is, right? Mm-hmm. She goes, no, what is it? It's GTA Vice City. I go, it's called Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I go, you could pick up hookers in the game. And she looks at her son. She's like, what? and dude, it was like the biggest backstab in this kid's face. Like, I can't believe this. But I didn't give a shit because I was doing my fucking job.
Right.
You know, and the parent did her job. I don't care if the kid plays Grand Theft Auto when he's 18. But he's trying. I mean, obviously he wanted to play it. I took away his thunder. But, you know, the parents have the right to know.
Right. I mean, I think it mostly just comes down to the parents as a whole, right? Like in my case, like I think there was one game that you and my dad didn't allow me to play, which was Dante's Inferno, because you said that game was way more graphic than anything I've ever played before.
Have you ever seen, and we're not going to talk about movies too much, but have you ever seen Hellraiser?
Yes.
Okay. So you know how Hellraiser has got that bondage, creepy vibe to it? Well, Dante's Inferno, it's a great game. Anybody that's over 18, totally play it.
I really wish I could have finished it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. But that game, it was not for children.
Not at all.
Like,
I remember when the first level, well, not after you fight death, like the first level when you're starting to fight some of the regular enemies, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad that I didn't play this game as a kid.
When I finished the game, you fight Satan at the end. It's brutal. Like, Satan's this cool looking black, he's got like a humanoid creature, but he's all blacked out, long hair. But what fucking got me was his 8-inch cock that was flopping around in the game. and I'm not like offended, like, oh my God, there's a penis on the screen. But
it was just
but it was one of those moments where you're looking around going, dude, there's kids that are playing this. and he's dodging with this huge sword, and it's like, whoosh. It's not the only sword swishing around in the game. But I was an adult, and I'm allowed to play those games, and I'm allowed to go, holy shit, that's in that.
Well, I mean, that also kind of brings up a good discussion in my brain is like, you know, what would you allow in video games, right? Like Dante's Inferno is a very R-rated game, right? But like, here's the thing: like, you think about it, right? Like, it's an R-rated game. How well did it sell?
It sold pretty good,
right? So, my the thing that I'm kind of coming around to on this is like, there's a lot of games that especially we see nowadays that come out and they're just too, you know, like you say, they feel samey, they're repetitive in nature, right? I feel like it's a part of that because people view gaming as still kind of like a child's thing.
No, I think what that's a miss. I think you're a little on the
A misconception?
Yeah, games that feel the same is because everybody's using Unreal Engine and everybody's making the same levels and they're making the same style game because everybody wants to make money. Hold on.
Yeah.
There are tons of games for children, and the problem with children's games is you got to keep kids engaged, right? And they're all very vanilla when it comes to they can't be very gory. If you're a parent that cares about your kids, you let them grow older and mature and let their content mature with them, right? Now, this is coming from an 80s kid that his dad let him watch Nightmare on Elm Street when he was 4 years old, so I'm not
also
the best.
Kid that played Grand Theft Auto when he was
I'm
like 13.
I'm not the best example for that, but what I'm saying is that kids pick up habits everywhere. Parents cuss, they're violent, they pick up all those things. Being a parent is not an easy deal to have, and a lot of people don't want to do it, right? And we're not going to talk about that. That's not what this is about, but in video games in general, if you're okay with your kids playing those games, then I'm not going to tell you how to parent. But if you're selling video games, or if you're somebody that's friends with somebody and they go, hey, my kid really wants to play this game, and you tell the parent that may not know something, what it's about, and you're just being honest with them, you're just being a good friend or a good family member and saying, hey, this game's got a lot of violence, it does this and that. And if the parent goes, I don't give a shit, then that's it. That's the end of story. Like that parent at the GameStop could have easily purchased that.
Just been like, whatever.
Because I can't tell her, well, I know. You can't sit there and say, well, I know you're going to let him play that. You don't know that. Even though that's 100% who's going to play it because she didn't know what Grand Theft Auto was. But if she's like, no, I'm going to play it and I'm going to buy it, I can't stop her. She's an adult.
Right.
But if I had kids and they wanted to play, God of War, and they're 6 years old, I'm going to say, no, you can watch Dad play it for a little bit, but you're not playing it until you get older.
I'm trying to remember actually when I first played God of War. I want to say it was back when I was like 9 or like 10.
Well, we're a little.
I mean, I'm not the same as. I mean, yeah, for sure, we're not prime examples.
But for little kids, like little kids, they should grow up being little kids. That's how I think it. Like they should be introduced to crazy shit right away.
I think the craziest game I was introduced when I was younger was Shadow of the Colossus, and I think that was when I was like 7.
Yeah, but even that game isn't that brutal. That is no different than Legend of Zelda.
I feel like that also has more of an important lesson inside of the game as a whole than.
But it's not
God of War
it's not
would.
An overly excessively violent game.
No,
it is like I just said just a second ago. It's Legend of Zelda-esque, and it teaches you things. I mean, does it have violence? I mean, dude, Super Mario Brothers on regular Nintendo had violence.
He jumped on creatures.
You literally jumped on animals and crushed them. Okay, I mean, but it's the way that's interpreted.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Sony, you met IDs, right? But let's go on some good news and talk about what everybody's been playing over the past weekend. Is
Hello Kitty Island Adventure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Hello Kitty Island Adventure 2.
Oh, wow.
No. It's actually Capcom's new IP, Pragmata. Now, we haven't played it ourselves yet, but we're kind of looking at it because everybody's talking about it, and at least in my books, I kind of want to check it out. When
I saw the trailers for it and some of the gameplay stuff...
Back in, like...
No, just recently. They showed more, probably older trailers, but they were more recent to me, and...
I remember when it got announced last year at the Game Awards.
The gameplay, the first trailer a year ago... I was like, I just didn't really know anything about it.
It's kind of about everybody's, yeah.
But then when they showed gameplay and the action in it, the only thing that confused me was I never picked up on the fact that the little girl in it is an android. Because there's actually a scene in one of the trailers where he's jumping through space at the thing, and I'm like, why is she still breathing? And then I watched some YouTubers talk about the review of the game, what they thought about it. I didn't listen to a lot of it because I kind of want to have my own interpretation of it.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've heard negative about it is people are freaking out because it's a little girl and a boy or a man, and they're kind of dogging on the father-daughter kind of aspect of it.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of ridiculous.
You're talking about the big controversy where there's a bunch of people talking about
like all the big YouTubers like Hassan
she shouldn't look so pretty.
And they make fun of the Japanese for being pedophiles.
And
I think it's really ridiculous. I think that, first of all, this is the only thing I'm going to say right now is America has a problem with dads being involved in anything right now.
I think they just do the same thing, the gruffly old dad.
Well, that's what dads are.
Not all dads are like that, though.
All dads are experienced. The rough, gravelly thing on the father, regardless of what it comes out as when they talk to you or how they convey emotions, is the gravelly dad, is the experienced dad who's just trying to protect you. It's no different than what a mom's trying to do. I mean, think about it. Every video game that has a mom character and a son or a daughter, It's a mom, caring for her daughter or her son in the game or her nephew.
Right.
They're mothering, right? Well, why doesn't anybody say anything about that? It's the same thing. It's like everybody's mom is some kind of a sweetheart to a certain extent, or some of them aren't. But I mean, most of them, if you want to convey a good mom, that's what they protect you. They mother you.
Yeah, I think I saw on Twitter somebody posted, the pictures of the little AI girl, and then they had the one on the right where they used AI to make it look like a baby. And they were complaining because they were like, kids don't have these adult, attractive features on it. And then everybody's in their comments being like, show us your hard drive. What are you talking about?
That goes back to the same thing that if the accusers always usually have something creepy they're accusing people of. Like if it's like, please don't kill me in the comments. It's like the old preachers, the Catholic priest that would crucify people for being gay, right?
I don't think you're going to get hate on that.
They crucify for being gay, and then you find out 10 years later that they were molesting little boys. Okay, so what I'm getting at is that usually the accusers have something creepy that they're not telling somebody,
right?
Whereas when you have logical people saying, "I don't see her as attractive. She's an android." Okay,
she's also 2 feet tall.
Yeah, and listen, the guy is, I don't know anything about the game, but he seems like he's a soldier on his own. How many movies have you seen where they have look at Shrek? I'm being serious though.
No, you're
Shrek
right.
is this gruff, hard ogre that hates everyone, and then you have this talking donkey that annoys the shit out of him, but they become best friends.
Right.
So you just take donkey away and you put it as a female, and that's exactly what the story is.
Honestly, I would kind of watch a Shrek movie that's just Shrek doing Shrek shit. That would be kind of fun, I feel.
I think a lot of us would do.
Yeah.
But anyways, that being said, I don't think there's any problem with it. And I think at the end of the day, if the game is good, the game is good.
Which I've heard that it is. And I'm very interested in picking it up. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up when I get my paycheck this week. I think I got a couple other things that I'm going to check out first. But it is on my list to check out for sure. And I believe it is also yours, having troubles with the match.
We're good, buddy. We're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, in terms of Capcom, let's go ahead and talk about the bangers that they've been releasing over the years, and especially in 2026.
Well, I'm going to go even further back. I just installed and played for about an hour last night Monster Hunter Online or Worlds.
Worlds.
I think it's online is what I have.
You have Worlds.
Okay. Well,
which is technically Monster Hunter Online was a Chinese MMO game that they had back in the day, which you can't play anymore.
Okay. So the one that I have, I actually have on PS.
Worlds?
I have it on PlayStation 4, and I have it installed on my PS5.
Okay.
But I bought it on the PC, and I'm going to restart it again. That game totally reminds me of an old school, one of the original MMO style games. It was called Phantasy Star Online. And the original Phantasy Star was like a Sega Genesis era, Sega Master System competition to Final Fantasy.
Okay.
So imagine the turn-based, your character, you walk around a map and all of a sudden it fizzes out. Then you're in battle, right? And then they made, on the Dreamcast, they made Phantasy Star Online, which is a precursor to games like Guild Wars, where you have this hub world and you buy your items and everything. And then you go into the world with 3 other players and you play 4-player co-op.
How long ago was that?
1990, 2000?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think
1999, I'm sorry, to 2000.
I think Monster Hunter might have started that kind of whole hub world thing. Maybe, possibly. I'm not.
No, Monster Hunter came out in
the first one was a Japanese only title.
Yeah, but it came out in
which was just
2000.
Monster Hunter. Was it 2000?
Yeah,
I thought it was 90s.
No, not Monster Hunter. No. No. You're talking maybe 2008, 2010. And I'll argue that
the first ones were on the PlayStation 2.
No.
Yes. It was only Japanese releases on the PlayStation 2.
Well, they weren't online because PlayStation
No, they weren't online. No, they were.
Monster Hunter was a copy of Phantasy Star Online. Phantasy Star Online was online. You build your character, you hook up with friends, 3 or 4 of them, and you go and you play the game all the way through. So it's not a bad. Those games. What I'm saying is that I actually like those games because they get you into like a massively open worlds with friends where it's like a World of Warcraft, but when you load up the game with your friends, you're the ones killing all the creatures. You don't have to wait for the enemies to respawn like most MMOs. And I'm excited to play Monster Hunter.
You got to let me know because I am so ready to play Monster Hunter with one of my family members. Like, I tried to get Dad into it for the longest time.
Yep.
And like his biggest thing is that he can't do the combat, which I was like,
the combat is difficult.
Try different weapons.
I know.
It has 14 different weapons for you to try.
I understand. It's just you have to. It still has a little bit of a learning curve on the weapon system, and some people just don't get it. Like, I had a hard time because I'm always trying to match up. I treated Monster Hunter like God of War because it's that same kind of view.
But
it's not Monster Hunter, or
so,
it's not God of War.
What weapon did you start with? Just the greatsword, or
dude? I didn't even get a weapon yet. That's how fast on the PC. I literally started. I got on the boat. The boat crashed. I climbed up the big creature, hooked onto the pterodactyl, flew down. Got to the main hub and said, "Okay, I'm done." Not because I had other things I wanted to do. I got what I got. I
started it.
I spent time creating my character. Dude, you know my cat character?
Your Palico?
Yeah, he's literally ashen colored, and his name is Sir Coopington. And he's got a gravelly, angry voice like my dog. So, and I'm a little mad they don't let you have dogs in a game. I know it's okay. I don't have anything against cats, but I'm a dog guy, right? So I was hoping that they would have me a small dog. So I had to just put my dog's name in there because I'm a douche. But
no, I mean it totally is to because I know a ton of like creators out there that make like their dogs. I mean obviously a cat's just a lot easier because it's just a cat.
Because the animal was a requirement in the game.
You'll probably hate it because in Monster Hunter Wilds they give you the option to put either voiced character for the cat character or the meows, and everybody was like, "No, please no, put it back to the cat sounds."
Yeah. So I played that. Sorry about that. I hit my mic. Capcom doesn't make bad games. They don't make bad games. They've never made bad games. They made hollow games that are kind of boring sometimes. But like you think about like Street Fighter, right? Like. There's people that are on the fence, Tekken, Street Fighter, right? And we're not going to get into that all the way, but I like both. And I don't think that Capcom to me has lost their edge on the fighting games. I think
I've heard that 6 is actually still really good.
No, I'm saying like they're not bad quality. I'm just saying that I think Namco Bandai makes better games when it comes to like Soul Calibur and Tekken. I think they've always been a more technical.
We'll get into that in a second, but like to go on it for a little second here, Street Fighter is more like traditional fighting. I would say more show, and like Tekken 8. Or at least in my opinion, Tekken 8 feels more methodical than like Street Fighter does.
It's like we were kind of talking about earlier, before we started this recording is, Street Fighter is fun and flashy like WWE, and
for sure,
and Tekken is less flashy and more UFC style. And they're just different.
Which I would agree with. Yeah,
they're just different.
They're different types of players that play different types of fighting games for sure. But I mean, like Capcom, and the bigger thing that I think is more important is like. So I finished Resident Evil 9, which we'll go into this segment here because why the fuck not?
Talking about the insanity mode.
Yes. So I did my second playthrough on Resident Evil 9, and like that game, even knowing that I had my hardships with insanity mode, like that son of a bitch kicked my ass pretty hard. I had some of the most fun I've had in a long time playing a fucking game, especially that first playthrough, man. Like it was so magical.
Like you've said multiple times, you don't just play games on normal mode. You actually like the hardness of games.
Yes.
So it is cool that you got to experience Resident Evil on normal mode and you streamed it kind of like where you're going to beat it. You might die here and there not knowing quite how
to play the game. Yeah.
But then once you beat it and you're like, oh, this is cool. What's cool about that experience is simply the fact that Resident Evil 9 is so good that you instantly, for a single player game, and you're a multiplayer kind of guy, to replay it on the hard difficulty. You were like, this game's so good that I'm gonna test it.
I mean, dude, yeah, like when I finished it that first time, it was me and my buddy Nick, and like he was watching me beat it, and I finished it, and the credits rolled, and I like paused, leaned back in my chair, and I was like, that was a fun, damn good game.
Well, it's not about the ending of the game; it's about the journey, right? And I mean, it's such an awesome game. It's such an awesome game. I'm still not done with it yet because I got ADHD and I got.
You're doing a bunch of other shit.
I'm doing a bunch of other shit. But if Capcom continues,
well, I mean,
with the quality of the games they're making,
all of the remakes have been nothing but fantastic.
They took out some things in Resident Evil 3, which I thought was kind of lame.
Well, Resident Evil 3 remake is the one that everybody doesn't think is.
It's still good.
It's a. Yeah, I mean, it's.
But if anybody that says it's not as good as like 2, remake
or 4 remake.
4 remake, it's because they omitted things in Nemesis, that's what it was called. It was called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Right.
That it's missing. It definitely felt, out of all the remakes, it felt like when they did 2, and it was like, oh man, this is so freaking rad, because 2 was really good.
It was really good, yeah.
And then you played 3, and 3 is kind of short because they omitted things. People felt like it was a cash grab. But then Capcom was like, hold my beer.
Hold on.
Here's 4. And your head blows off.
Yeah.
And then you get 7. We've talked about 7 and 8 multiple times, which you haven't played 7 yet.
I haven't, no.
7 is scarier than 8.
Yes.
And 8 is, I still like 7 all the way through. I still love 8 all the way through. 9 is a return to form.
I would agree.
2, Resident Evil 4.
I would say it's a return to form, but brought into, like, you know how like we talk about like those boomer shooters, right? And you said that it's like it's those old games, but they, or I think I said it, where they introduce new stuff. Like that's what Resident Evil 9 feels like.
That's it's the little things that make games so great. So here's a good example. We're talking about boomer shooters and remakes. So you got Bolt Gun. It's by far the best boomer shooter that's out right now, in my opinion. Okay. And there's little things that it does that are extremely hilarious that I love. When you blow up a character in the game with your bolt gun and their guts blow up everywhere, nothing is funnier when you're standing on a ramp and a head rolls down in 2D and it's splatting blood. Yeah. I mean, they didn't do that back in the day, and that shit's funny.
Yes.
You know, it's just cool. And you know, they add tons.
It's going to be really fun when we play Brutal Doom together, because you're going to find a lot of shit that's just so enjoyable.
And the whole thing that's funny is, I think we were talking about this yesterday when we were out at lunch. I think it's funny they got the name Boomer Shooter when it's more like Gen X Shooter, and the reason being is that
Boomers were like before the 90s.
Even if Boomers were creating the games, the player base was Gen X, because Boomers played games, but not to the extent of what we did. Because in my generation, we were lucky enough. Like millennials were young in '82. I was one of the last years of the Gen X, and when you're the last of something, you get the cool combination. Like computers weren't quite a thing, but they were, and we had typewriters, which is old, right? And I think that every generation does that. You're gonna have that same thing happen to you from when you were a kid playing some kind of game to something else coming out, and you're gonna be good at both. But then there's some people that are part of the newer generation that have never experienced what you've experienced.
Right. I think we should talk about, on the next episode of the podcast, the nostalgia, not bait, but like the nostalgia of playing classic games. Because like I've been playing Shadow of the Colossus again, and like I've played that game so many times, but like every time I pick it back up, it brings me back to being a kid and playing through that game.
Capcom has a formula for success right now.
I would agree.
And everything they've come out with is a banger. I wouldn't even say my only reservation to Pragmata is simply it's a new IP. I know nothing about it. And there's nothing wrong with having a reservation on it. There's a lot of games that are made with modern audiences that is not a good game. It looks cool, but it's not fun. Right. And Capcom is not about not making fun games. They make good games. So to have a reservation because it's a new IP, it's not Resident Evil, it's not Street Fighter, whatever.
It's not something that you recognize. You're like,
but when you hear all the people that are popular on YouTube
talking about it
and saying how it's actually really good, and then you hear about how dumb the backlash is on it, you know it's going to be some kind of a good game.
I mean, I feel like that's also kind of included with, like, we were talking about, I think on the third episode where we were talking about Crimson Desert and, like, you know, Black Myth Wukong and stuff like that. There's like this new preconception that people have of video games that are brand new, like they're just like new IPs that people just kind of like.
Well, specifically Eastern games.
Yes, especially. Well, I think it's changed now, but like when it was first coming out, like I feel like everybody looked at Black Myth Wukong and were like, "That's going to be good."
In my era of games, because you know I'm obviously, you know, I say how much older I am, but back when I was growing up, and you know you're 15, 16, you're a young teenage kid. There was no line between Japanese or American games. Like they were equally as fun. Japanese were the ones that took video gaming to the next level.
I would agree.
Okay, but American video games were the pioneers. And when PlayStation was out, and you got this really great combination of Japanese games coming in with American companies. To me, when I was a kid, American-made games like Twisted Metal or Warhawk, all those games, they were punk rock. They were punk rock because they were so raw and like kind of like they had that American attitude that like, you know, we're the greatest, puffing their chest up.
Yes, for sure.
And then Japanese games were like they were like the blockbuster movies of video games. Like they told this story.
Yeah.
They were grandiose.
I would always go back and remember like Chrono Trigger for like the first game that really and
Secret of Mana, dude, on Super Nintendo.
Final Fantasy VII as well, being like those magical fucking stories.
Back in the day, Secret of Mana was one of the first games that I could remember that wasn't a sports game on Super NES. They required a multi-tap. Do you even know what that is?
No.
Multi-tap plugs into the second player port and it has 3 ports. And Secret of Mana was, imagine a Legend of Zelda, but made by Squaresoft. That was an adventure game where you had the main character. You know, the kid doesn't believe in himself, and he has his 2 kooky friends.
Yeah.
And you played as a Legend of Zelda style hack and slash game, but with 3 players.
Interesting.
And of course, they had Diablo at the time on PC.
Diablo 1 and 2?
Just 1.
Oh, okay.
At the time. And Secret of Mana was like this crazy thing because it was like, wow, you could play with your friends on this level. You know, it was just like Legend of Zelda. You went from one side of a map to another.
Kind of like a Gauntlet, but not the beat 'em up, just like the top down.
Gauntlet was the arcade version of Diablo. Whereas, like, if you play Secret of Mana or Chrono Trigger, it was more like a Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Where, you know, like Final Fantasy was turn-based combat.
Yes.
Your character walked around a map and then it went into battle.
Yeah.
Well, a Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger, to me, were like the enemies are on the screen.
Right.
And you attack them like you would in Zelda.
Yeah. Dude, man, like, the combat in Final Fantasy VII is the original. Because, I mean, like, the remake is good, but, like, the original just, in my opinion, just can't be beat. Like, the combat, the world exploring, the narrative, the characters were all so rich and engrossing, in my opinion.
If you are a person that is on the fence on retro Japanese
games,
fantasy
style
role-playing games, Final Fantasy VII is next level. Even if the graphics on the original aren't all that good.
I don't think anybody cares.
Well, some people do care, some people don't. I think that if you want a good story and you actually want to lose it, like, you know, 50 hours of your life, it's pretty awesome.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Okay. You want to move to the next part?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. Capcom, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we love you, Capcom.
You're just printing money for us.
I'm going to fucking slap a Capcom thing right on front of my on my PC. And I remember there was a time where I wouldn't do that, but I would definitely do that now for sure.
Yep.
All right, well, we got on the next thing here. Ubisoft has subtly announced that they have a Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake coming out soon.
I will reserve my thoughts on that. I never played Black Flag, the original. I have actually thought about picking it up because I heard it's one of the best ones.
It is.
The best-selling one, actually, to this date is Valhalla. I did not know that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It had the most. It made them the most money, and then they decided to kill themselves with.
What was one of your favorite parts about Valhalla?
Everybody wants to play a Viking game. That's what it is.
So it's just the Vikings part?
I think that Vikings are a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of mysticism around them because they were a very cool part of our history. Valhalla does some cool things, but again, if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, you're one of two.
So I'll tell you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let
Okay.
me finish.
Okay. Go for it.
Little history. Original Assassin's Creed, they all tell stories of history. The problem is that the first 3 games and the 2 other Ezio games were a very good story arc between the Brotherhood of Assassins and the Templars. When you got into the RPG style Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, they became overbloated and less about the Templars and less about the grander scheme of them picking up the weapons of Eden. They got away from that, and that's where you lost some of your fan base. Okay. Even though it was a good reinvention, they brought a lot of new players in because it was a different style. The OG fans kind of walked away from it.
For sure.
I don't know if you've ever played Mirage.
Assassin's Creed Mirage?
Yes.
No.
So Mirage was a return to form to the original Assassin's Creed. More of a linear story arc. The levels and the level of the game opens up more of the map because you do story arc parts. Assassin's Creed was like that. You start off in this kind of.
I've played Unity and it does that kind of where like
Unity was one of the first that was like a hybrid between the two.
Yes. It's also like, especially now, like it's a fantastic game to go back and play through because it's actually really fucking good.
It ruined Ubisoft.
Yes, because when it released, it was
horrible.
It was fucking terrible.
The original Assassin's Creed got kind of bashed because it was a linear story arc. it was slightly open world, excuse me, where you could travel from one town to the other after you've unlocked story arcs. But you did kind of the same thing to get to the story arcs. Assassinate this person. But when you get into the Valhalla and the Odyssey and the other ones, it's this big exploration. And I found myself victim to that. Like, I was accepting to this new style of Assassin's Creed, but I felt that Valhalla, even though it's a Viking game, it shouldn't be called Assassin's Creed.
So I think Assassin's Creed Black Flag is that shift that you're talking about.
Well,
where
it's you're playing as the son of the main character in 3.
Yes.
And he's kind of an anti-government pirate,
but
who
the
gets
thing
stuck into that.
The thing I'm explicitly thinking about and talking about is like that game doesn't. It has a narrative and it has linears, but it's open exploration because you're sailing on the ship.
It was that sprinkling of them trying new things.
Yes,
and my problem with Ubisoft is first of all, they're not doing very good financially. They're bankrupt basically. And
they're very complacent right now too with their formula.
That's all been just redone.
Because I mean, like, even their new IPs with like the Star Wars game and
Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
You mean Assassin's Creed Star Wars Outlaws?
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And people like open world, but open world is for a certain kind of person. And I think that when you have a story driven game like Assassin's Creed, where they're telling a grandeur story, because they killed Desmond in the 3rd game, and the thought process is that it's can be slightly open world, but it should be driven by a story. And they just lost it when they made it in a open world RPGs. Like they made like a watered down version of The Witcher 3, where it was like, dude, there were multiple times in Valhalla where I was doing the story, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna level up my character, and I'm gonna branch out and do the fishing, and I'm gonna go assassinate and find all these treasures, and then 40 fucking hours later, I'm like, what was I doing again? And then I forget the story.
Yeah.
And that's why I laugh when people say there's no story in Crimson Desert, because it's like, dude, you're playing open world game. The story is everything you do.
It's also just a sandbox game.
No, but
right.
But the story is what you make of it. Like the little missions that you get, and you're like, whoa, I found this giant sword, or whoa, I rode a horse.
Sure.
Those are your stories. You're not trying to be the guy who defeats this gigantic evil, even if it's in there. That's not the whole premise. The whole premise of the game is to go play and just find shit out.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed, I'm not saying anything negative about the games except for the fact that it started off as a story-based driven game with these cool assassins brotherhood and these Templars one was trying to control the planet with these weapons, and the other ones were trying to keep it and continue to give man free will. That was the whole premise of the first game, was these Edens can rewrite history because they're alien technology. Whoever holds it can go, everybody just thinks this way, like mind control. And the assassins were like, no, everybody was given free will by a higher power. We get to keep our free will. And they got away from that in the Assassin's Creed games. It doesn't mean that they're bad games. It's just that they shouldn't be called Assassin's Creed.
I mean, to go on to Black Flag, like I think the reason why everybody loves Black Flag so much does come down to just the pirate feel, which isn't really an Assassin's Creed feel for sure. It does have very Assassin's Creed gameplay, like when you're off the ship,
more parkour, and
when you're off the ship and you're doing like the assassin missions and stealthing around and shit. Like it's fully assassin. But my favorite part, at least, is on the ship, here in the freaking sea shanties, going around the world.
What was the other Assassin's Creed that was like that? They brought back the ship fighting in one of the Assassin's Creed. It might have been.
Are you
Odyssey.
Talking about Skull and Bones?
No. A lot of players when Black Flag came out did not like the boating part at first. It was actually like when it very first came out, it was like, this is an Assassin's Creed. This is a pirate fighting game. But when people started playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag and got into the boating thing, it actually, as the game aged, people loved it.
Well, I know that's like a big thing in Valhalla. Is they do the stories and then the music with the guys on the raid ships.
Yeah,
but
do you know who sings in that game?
Wardruna?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's but it is so weird hearing him singing those tales in English. Like it just I want to put it in Norwegian and let him do it in Norwegian.
That would be so good.
But that's on a smaller scale. It's a lot more controlled because you don't necessarily fight on the ships. You can, but you more times you're also going to a raid.
You're also traveling on like rivers and stuff in Valhalla, while in like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, it's ocean.
In the beginning, you're in Norway and you're in the ocean. You fight whales and shit. It's cool.
Yeah. I I just hope that Ubisoft doesn't do like I don't want them to just so like two things. So I don't want them to just take the game and then like boot it up with like new graphics because then I feel like there's things that they can fix about the game. But I also don't want them to change too much because if they changed a lot on the remake, then it would piss me off.
It's probably safer to say they'll make it more just an updated graphics version and fix tiny bits of control.
Well, that's what I would want. Yeah, for sure.
My problem with Ubisoft is they are the kings of microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
And they force you to either grind for 40 hours to get something that shouldn't take you 40 hours or to pay actual money. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're going to change. I think they're going to release it and they're going to have three different versions, a $69 one, a $99 one, and a $130 one.
Yep.
And I think that's absolute bullshit, especially since the game came out at $50 when it came out.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited for it, though, because I think Black Flag is one of the best.
I have my pessimistic reservations. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it. When it comes out, if people online that have money that want to play it and they're like, oh, dude, this game's so awesome and it has all these things, then maybe I'll report and maybe I'll play it. But right now, Ubisoft has actually kind of burnt my trust a little bit.
I get it. I totally get it.
That's where I feel about that.
Okay, well, we talked about Crimson Desert a little bit, and now we have a little bit of reports that it's running on Linux.
Yep.
I have still off and on playing it. I'm not getting too far into it because I was doing a bunch of other stuff, but still enjoying it. Will you pick it up?
When I have time, I probably will pick it up.
Okay.
I was excited when it came out. I think I lose myself in games that are like that. I don't necessarily need a story because I know that it's like that game is, like you said, it's a sandbox. But what I think about games like that aren't story driven, they're like life simulators. You know, like basically you're in the shoes of a warrior you create. And then you just travel and do cool shit.
Yeah.
And you have to be in the right... Sometimes I want a story-driven game. Sometimes I want a game to hold my hand and direct me in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to read a book that I'm not like... Crimson Desert is like one of those things where you're sitting on a park bench looking at a mountain and you're going, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just having second thoughts about life and everything. Whereas sometimes I want something to say, hey, this is how we're doing it. And as long as the gameplay is fun and repeatable... replayable. I don't care if it tells a story because no Resident Evil would be replayable if they weren't fun to play, but they all tell a storyline.
Yeah, I think it's a great game, honestly, and I think everybody should give it a shot. You know, Steam has a very good refund policy.
Okay,
but
here's a good thing, Kayman. Invincible Versus fighting game. We were talking about fighting games earlier.
So I haven't gotten to play it yet.
Okay,
is
it out?
It will be out on April 30th.
So it's in like a beta, or is it?
It was
beta,
so it was
but, like demo testing.
It was an open beta.
Okay.
It was open beta for the 9th to the 11th in April.
And you haven't played it yet, right?
I did not get to play it, but I've watched a shit ton of videos.
Who is making it? Do you know?
It's some company called like Insert Coin or something like that.
Okay.
It's yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head if they have any other games for their credibility?
I don't think so. Off the top of my head, no. To be honest, like I don't really. I'm not the type of guy to go and look into companies' history because sometimes a company, from what I've seen, can release shit games and then they'll come out and you'll have a fun game. Predator Hunting Grounds, right? Like that game when it came out, everybody was kind of like, it's whatever, and then now we're all playing it and we're having a good time with it, right?
I still look at their history because I like to see where they start.
Well, I think it's a good thing that we have both sides, right? Because like you do a lot of research before you go into something that you want to explore, and I kind of look at it in the aspect of like, not to say that you don't look at how the players react, but I look at how the community reacts to something.
Well,
more.
Of course, you should always because community in gaming, movies, and music, and anything else in life, any hobby, you don't look at what reviewers say. You look at what your friends and people that are generally into gaming or movies or whatever are going to watch or play. Right. So if a bunch of gamers are playing that beta test demo,
which they were,
and people are freaking out saying this is awesome, and obviously they're fans of the comics and the TV show. If they're freaking out, there is a room for excitement. It's not so much that you want to hear somebody that's got a YouTube channel that could be paid to tell you that it's good,
right?
Because like look at IGN, they're terrible. I don't believe a fucking word
they
say.
Gave Mouse PI a 6 out of 10.
It's because they hate it, but they're paid shills. They make their money off getting exclusive access to things. So they have to polish the knob of any big big publisher. Whereas people that put their money down or sign up for a beta or anything, like essentially somebody's probably going to punch me in the throat when I say this. But look at games like Witchfire that I've played 350 hours in. 12 people. We've talked about it before. Mm-hmm. I've put so much time into it, and I rave about it. Right? Who is somebody going to believe? A person that's doesn't even own the game. They were given the game. Mm-hmm. Or somebody who plays it and says, "Hey, this is the kind of game it is," mm-hmm. and I fucking played tons of hours on it. Then you have to think, well, am I similar to my buddy or the person saying it, and I'm looking for something like this, or is it just not my style? Mm-hmm. It doesn't make it a bad game because you don't like it. It's
the same thing with like Crimson Desert. Like that was a big discussion with everybody. It was like, is this a game for me? I keep hearing mixed things, and it just came down to like, check out the game. Everybody was like, just go watch people play it. Like click on different streamers.
I really wish that more Steam games had demos, and I know a lot of them do.
I think that's mostly because of the studios themselves. Nobody really makes demos anymore.
I think they should, though.
They definitely should.
I think that demos are a good way to get somebody into any kind of game, because people are smart enough to make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. Especially when games cost $70 now on the higher end.
Which thankfully, Invincible Versus is only $50. And then it's like $70 for the deluxe edition, and the collector's edition is $100. But granted, the collector's edition doesn't come with like a statue or anything. It just comes with like a rerun of the first comic book redrawn and everything, and then it comes with like a couple of character cards, and then of course the game and all that.
I don't buy into the special editions anymore because of the simple fact that
I kind of want to get the collector's edition just to have it.
I don't want digital things.
That's what I'm saying. This is physical cards.
Oh,
yeah, okay, physical cards.
I'm down with that.
A full physical booklet, and then you get the steel book. For the game case and stuff,
because I like back in PS3 era when you bought special editions, you
get a statue,
got, like, statue and cool stuff.
Yeah, that's how I feel about like all of my Doom Eternal collector's editions and shit.
Speaking of demos, though, I did play Chronos: The New Dawn.
Go ahead,
and
you have the floor, Bill.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for that permission slip.
You're welcome.
Chronos: The New Dawn is interesting. It's a Dead Space clone. It plays just like Dead Space. Like I could hit a button on the game and it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. I mean, to the point where you hit the C button and you activate your whereabouts. But it's done very well. I actually really want to buy it. It's on sale right now for $34 on Steam. But the problem is it comes with Dead Space 2023.
Yeah.
And I already own that. So in order for me to buy it, I have to spend $41 to get just the game. But from what I've played, it's fucking cool.
Enjoyable?
Yes.
Good time?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't checked that one out. I saw people playing the demo when it came out first a while ago. A couple of channels that I like to watch, and they were playing it and watching it and enjoying it and whatnot.
Yep.
And I don't think I would purchase it just yet because I've got so much I got to do. But
it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah.
Because that game totally caters to guys like me. Third person,
horror.
Scary, sci-fi horror, which is funny because I'm not a sci-fi horror.
But you love Dead Space.
But I'm a sci-fi horror when it's horror in a sci-fi setting.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, Dead Space is the biggest thing I think that shifted your mind maybe.
Dude, when that came out in 2008, that was revolutionary when it came to the way that game scared the crap out of you. It was sound effects. It was, it was jump scares. It was everything. It's my favorite game of all time.
When I replay it now, I actually turn off all of the music because that, to me, it makes it so that because I'm not very jump scared or startled very easily a lot of these days. So I'll turn off the music because then it makes it a natural moment for me to be
when they bust through a vent.
Yes, and then
loud.
you're turning around and you're like, the fuck was that? Yeah, and when you have the music on, it would do the music and it go whang, and you're like, what the fuck? And then it throws me out of it. But as a kid, man, that shit was terrifying.
A cue that you're being attacked.
Yes,
and then it goes back to being like Alien, where it's quiet when you're just playing
My
yourself.
Favorite moments, especially in the remake, is when you're just standing there and you're just hearing all of the fucking ship deteriorating around you, and it's just
the groans and shit,
and the parts where it randomly decides to shut off all the power and then go completely dead silent, and you're just aiming your gun with your flashlight because you don't have
all
any.
You can hear is Isaac breathing.
Yeah,
that's fucking
so
awesome.
Good,
or
so good.
One of the things I love they added in the remake was the heartbeat.
Yes,
because there were scenes where I was fighting some of those,
and you're hearing his heartbeat, and it's going
the babies, and I played it yesterday and I was laughing because I did the thing where you press spacebar multiple times. He goes, "Fucking die!" And then all of a sudden his heart rate, after he crushes the body down, his heart rate just goes down. It's like yeah, I'd be calm too. The main character in Chronos is a female character. I did not know that. Not that that's a problem because she's in a bodysuit and everything.
It's the same thing as like Metroid.
There's some really cool aspects of the game that I thought were really, really interesting. Like I was telling you guys yesterday, you kill an enemy, you better get rid of the body because the creatures in this are called biomass creatures, and they can grab dead bodies and become stronger. They literally melt them into themselves.
We'll have to talk about Callisto Protocol at some point because, like, when you're talking about enemy designs in these horror games, right? Like, that's way more interesting than just like a random infection, right? Like Callisto Protocol just has a zombie, like anger virus or whatever that mutates their bodies or whatever, and then like later on in the game it mutates them to where they're like actual like horror creatures. But we could talk about Callisto Protocol at another day,
right?
But it's so good to see these AA studios coming back and like we've talked about multiple times, infusing creativity again, where we're having fun, interesting designs for enemies.
One of the things I thought was really funny is I think the company that made Chronos definitely has a Dead Space homage because I stomped on a body and she goes, fuck, like that. And I was like,
dude, Gunnar Wright for fucking Dead Space, like he set a path, okay?
Yeah.
His voice acting especially.
And I'm glad to see smaller studios that are creating a Dead Space clone that actually is kind of like more of a heir apparent to that. So I want to pick it up.
Good. I would pick it up eventually. So all right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the second segment, the back alley theater. But first, we're going to go ahead and introduce
the drink of the day,
the alcohol. I mean, you've already finished your cigar, but you get another one. I think I'm still going to be going with mine. So go ahead and introduce this.
The spirit today is a rum. It is St. Teresa, 1796, and this is a triple aged Solara rum. Brewed and aged in Arabic coffee cask. And
we had the choice between this one or the other one.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
All right.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. That is delish.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and introduce the first part of the back alley theater that we got for today. So Jacksepticeye, who is one of the top YouTubers for the longest time, has announced that he is producing a animated Bloodborne movie. So we already kind of talked about it a little bit here and there. And you have your own preconceptions. Mm-hmm. I keep saying that word today. I guess that's careful.
Go ahead.
You have your preconceptions with it, but I am full in general because it's the same aspect of like Markiplier making a movie, right? I feel like I trust Jacksepticeye in making an animated Bloodborne movie because he has outwardly stated like Bloodborne is his favorite game of all time. He has a tattoo of it.
It's one of the best games of all time for sure.
Yes,
I've said it before that it's one of my favorite games of all time.
And it's not necessarily because I mean honestly, like I would rather have Bloodborne be ported to PC, 60 frames for sure. Like that, I would definitely rather have that. But I mean, to get something new in the Bloodborne,
my only worry is that a lot of the animations they're done in like a Japanese anime style, and a lot of the newer anime styles look to me very bland and Saturday morning cartoonish. Like it's cool that they're out there.
Can you give a good like number one example for your brain?
Like the Dead Space anime.
Downfall.
Yeah, good movie because Dead Space.
I thought it was okay.
But the animation wasn't like the animes of the past, like Ninja Scroll and Vampire Hunter D. And
was that also an American studio, or was that also a Japanese studio that did the Dead Space movie?
I don't know, but what I'm saying is they're taking the same artistic style, and they're trying to make, regardless of where it's made, their version of what they think a Japanese anime should be. I know that they've done a couple things on Netflix that were Japanese anime-esque, and they made movies or games out of it, and it just looks kind of bland and lazy. I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen. I'm just going to hold my opinion on a beloved IP from software till the final product.
Well,
I'm excited because I love Bloodborne, and I know we're not going to get a PC port anytime soon.
Well, I don't think we're going to get it at all.
I know.
Sony's pretty much said that that's not going to happen, especially now with.
Well, they want to make a remake.
No, they said that
from software. No, it's from software.
Software
does not want to do it.
Yes, yeah.
Sony wants to do it, but because From Software is a little salty because of how Sony handled it, I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
I don't blame him either. Honestly, I don't blame him either.
And I think that it definitely needs to be, they need to have some kind of little chat, a little powwow,
I mean, I can get the worry. I don't think I would agree. I mean, I'm also a little more in the anime space than you are, for sure. But I think...
I don't care if it's animated, dude. I just care that I know that I know who you're talking about. I've seen the guy, and he loves Bloodborne. So I know that with just him, it will be in good hands. Mm-hmm. I just don't want it to be let's get an anime studio of any kind. It needs to have that grit, that it has to have a lot of detail in the animation because the game is very atmospheric and it's very H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes.
And if it's drawn like a regular anime where things are kind of like blandish, like it's a tentacle but it doesn't have a lot of detail on the tentacle, that's what I'm getting at. Is like it looks like it's a low budget anime, even though a lot of them are still good.
You're worried that it would just become more of a low budget. Okay, so I mean,
that's my concern. It's not necessarily that I think it's going to be bad or the people that are handling are bad.
So I'll already say. Jacksepticeye has openly stated multiple times since he announced it that his main worry is the same as yours. He does not want to lose the main important thing that Bloodborne keeps, which is its atmosphere.
So my opinion is this: I want to wait till they have a ready product.
Which,
to show.
It's just announced, so they haven't even started pre-production on it yet.
So I'm not going to say anything negative. I'll just get, like I said,
you're just going to wait. You're
I'm
just going
to wait and see because I don't want to judge it and say it's going to be shit, and I'm not going to say it's going to be the greatest thing ever. I want to give them the time to produce what they're going to make, show me a little snippet, when they're ready, and I'll give my opinions when it comes out.
I mean, I'll also point out, too, without my favorite manga, TV show, whatever you want to call it, it's a manga for me. Berserk, you wouldn't have a whole lot of things that Bloodborne has or any other FromSoft game has. Like, Miyazaki alone has stated and shown that he loves Berserk just as much as everybody else does.
Right. From the art style of the anime on what you just showed me earlier before we started this podcast, I would be extremely happy if it was that good. So what I'm saying is if they put the money in and give the animators and everybody the time they require, that he's played the game a million times. So you know that he knows a lot about it. Okay? So he's not going to mess up in the true to the fan base and true to the game.
Right.
I just want the anime team to be given the ability to create that in a movie format or TV show format that looks like it should.
Well, yeah. I mean, to talk about like producing, since he's producing it, I feel like he of all people would allow that to happen. Right.
So I have more hope in this movie
than like something else. But I'm
still going to hold my reservations on it.
Okay. I mean, to go on a little bit a tangent that I have here, which I brought up Berserk, right?
I'm just kidding.
It has a terrible anime, 2 of them actually. And when you go and read the manga, it has the same things that you're kind of talking about, where the manga is so detailed and has this aura to it that can't be matched anywhere else. It's got a
quality to it.
Yes. And the second and third anime that came out in 2016 and 17, they're 3D. They mixed in 2D segments. It's just garbage. It's so bad. But the one that I showed you was a lot of the clips from the movie franchise, which had a big budget to it. The problem with that was that it was released as 3 movies, and the first 2 movies were played back to back from each other, and like nobody was going to go to the movie theaters and be there for 4 hours, right?
Right.
Especially at the time that it came out, which was like 2013. But they also have the 97 anime, which everybody regards as like the best Berserk adaptation. so far. And that anime doesn't, it's 97. It doesn't have some of the best animation for sure, but it's...
Well, you remember like the old animes like Ninja Scroll and Ghost in the Shell. I mean...
I think the difference is like movies get more budget and more time than TV shows do.
Of course.
And Berserk's 97 is like a full TV show. And there's a lot of times where they'll reuse animation or they'll just do stills.
For budget.
Well, that and also they wanted to keep it as accurate to the manga as possible and have the same impact that those pages do, because Kentaro Miura, when rest in peace, my lord, when he was still alive, he was there during the production of that. So right. I feel like it's like that same aspect in the Bloodborne movie.
But wasn't the second guy that was involved in Berserk also left the reins of Berserk when he passed away?
What do you mean second? Are you meaning his friend?
Yeah,
Koji Mori. So when Kentaro Miura passed, there was a full year between the spots because they wanted to give everybody kind of time. So right. At the end of Berserk, when it was still going, he had 2 assistants that helped him draw and helped him basically up the production as much as possible.
That he trusted.
Yes. So those 2 were still with him when he passed, and then his friend Koji Mori of like all of his life, like there's pictures of them going to the gym each other and like hanging out, and Koji Mori actually wrote his own mangas as well. He wrote a manga about the passing of Kentaro Miura, and it fucking kills me every time. But when he was talking to Dark Horse Comics about continuing the franchise, I guess you could say, continuing the manga, it was left in the air because everybody was like, should it continue, should it not continue? Because Kentaro Miura he only did Berserk and like 2 other mangas, but like Berserk was his baby.
What were his thoughts though before his passing? Did he trust his friend enough to continue?
He would bounce back and forth with his friend on how the narrative would go.
Okay.
So, I mean, the thing with that was that the fan base collectively gave it to Koji Mori because Koji Mori had information that we didn't have.
Right.
And he wants to make it in the way
so it's in good hands. It's in good hands. So,
yes.
I guess that's what I'm getting at is that they could technically move on with the story because the people that are going to write it are basically still caring as much because they have stake in the game. They lost a friend.
Yeah.
And that friend who was the creative genius behind that manga was they still harbor his respect, and they respect him. They're not just going to cash out turn it into a franchise of cash.
Right.
They're going to do it with the same care because they cared about him. So that's a good thing for that's cool if they do carry it on. As long as they feel like it's worth it.
They do. We'll go on. I
Moving
think
forward, my friend.
We can do Berserk another day. I love that shit so much. But we'll also go on to the second part of this where we have an Elden Ring movie that's been in the productions by A24.
I have Elden Ring on my PC, and I put a little bit of time into it. And obviously, it's a Souls game from software. And it's incredibly. It's not as hard as the Dark Souls games. I don't know enough. I'm just giving my opinion.
No. Yeah, go for it.
I think looking at the game where I've played it and the story that I know so far, it could definitely make a good movie. I just haven't played it enough to have an opinion on. I don't want to be like the person that didn't read a book and then go, "Oh, the movie's so good," and then you're like, "Dude, the book was so much better."
So much better. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like the common thing with everything.
It is a common thing because books have multiple years of the author writing it and
taking his time and
taking their time,
like a long time,
right? And so, as long as the Elden Ring movie is essential to the core of the game, but without the gaming parts of it, it just has the story arc to it, and the people that are making it actually care about making it as important as the game was to most people that played it. You're never going to make everybody happy.
Of course.
But if they don't overinflate the budget and have this Marvel-style budget where if it doesn't do extremely well, they don't make a sequel. If they could keep the budget tight while still keeping the quality high, which can totally be done, to where if it is released to the public and you have a bunch of the fans show up and it goes really good, and then its second leg where movies kind of fall, as long as other people that aren't quite into Elden Ring or know nothing about it can actually enjoy it, I think that it'll do well.
I do think it's kind of an interesting thing that like we're getting from software movies now, right? Like we're talking about Bloodborne, which if anybody doesn't know, like from soft games, your character doesn't speak at all, right? You only get spoken to.
Yes.
And the thing I think that's really interesting is that people are finding things that they can make some sort of like narrative movie about in these video games.
Well, there's a huge story in a lot of these games.
There is, but you have to dig for it. You have to go in and read like,
everything,
item descriptions, listen to the dialogue, read the backstories, and it's all stuff that
nothing holds your hand in those games.
Right.
You have to do all the work. And the thing that's cool about, like, say, like Bloodborne, I know a bit about Bloodborne and the society and all the other stuff, and it's just it's fucking cool, dude.
It's so cool.
It's so cool, and I want to be excited, but I also just want to. Both those projects. I want to wait and see the trailer, and then make my assumption, and then hopefully go see it.
That would be so sad if the Elden Ring movie, because the Elden Ring movie is a live action instead of it being like an animated film. Which, to go on that for a little bit, I feel like Bloodborne would be more animated than live action. I feel like live action it would be too Marvel-y.
No, it'd still be awesome though, dude.
I don't know about that because it's really hard to do that kind of. I don't know. Dude, I feel like it's
you give it to the right director, somebody who can write grimy stuff. It would be quite excellent.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think, like I was going on, it's interesting that we're getting these movies, and I think, especially knowing the two, one, the studio, A24, that's doing Elden Ring, and then two, Jacksepticeye that's producing the Bloodborne movie, it gives me hope that we'll get something that's a good adaptation of something that we love. Because Elden Ring is a masterful game. I debate between Bloodborne and Elden Ring being their magnum opus in style of From Software game design.
I think that Bloodborne is the magnum opus on the gameplay portion of it. And the story isn't lacking; it's still good. Whereas,
I don't think any Dark Souls or FromSoft game has a bad story.
Yes, that could be debated. I think that Bloodborne has a better story than most of the Dark Souls games.
I would agree.
But I think Elden Ring is a far more epic looking. It's basically Elden Ring is the 15 years of Dark Souls games and all they've learned in this game that's just not only beautiful, because most Dark Souls games, Demon Souls games, aren't very pretty. They're cool.
I think Dark Souls 3. I think Dark Souls 3 would change that because it has a lot of really beautiful sections.
I've watched people play it. I've watched you guys play it, and when you're comparing it to Bloodborne, or even
it's the difference in the style.
Well, right, but the style in Elden Ring is pretty much everything they've learned in all the other games.
Yes,
but what they've done is they've taken the core gameplay and everything they've learned throughout the years and made the game look actually aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
I think that's also because George R.R. Martin, did a lot of the backstory stuff.
In the Souls, other Souls games, it was graphics second.
Yes, compared to gameplay, for sure.
Whereas Elden Ring brought it both together.
Okay,
and it doesn't.
I see what you're saying. You're talking about like the detail of everything.
Yeah,
for sure.
The world feels more alive than any of the other worlds.
Okay,
and I'm not saying that. People that play it are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad games. I'm just saying that it's a complete package compared to the other ones. Like people play Demon Souls, Dark Souls, 1, 2, 3 are in it to win it. They want to play this extremely hard game and high five themselves when they beat a hard boss or they finally kill the guy. Anyways, I just think that it's one of those things that it's all coming together, and I think it can make a really grandiose movie.
I really hope that the previews that we get of it will be really good.
Hopefully, I watched a couple movies this week.
Did we talk about this? We talked about the. No, we didn't.
No, I watched a movie that in a genre that I don't normally like. I watched Godzilla -1.
-1,
and it's, in my opinion, the best monster movie ever created, next to probably the original Godzilla.
That's really high praise from you.
Well, because I don't like guys in suits all that much. I just thought it looked really cheesy, and it was par course for the era, and I don't blame him for that. It's like nostalgia. Like you're talking to a guy who likes Hammer films, right? And they're of the era, 50s, 60s, and 70s horror films that are campy horror films where the vampire, is this dastardly creature, and then the guy chases him around with a fucking cross, and today's standards, they're a lot more complicated than that. They add more to them nowadays. -1 was everything that every Godzilla movie wanted to be when they were making them. It was this epic World War II, or in that era. Japan obviously is like, we lost the war in that movie, and they're talking about this creature that's destroying their world again, and it was so epic on so many levels, from the the design of the film. All the actors in the movie were fantastic. Every one of them. I didn't hate a fucking person in that movie. Godzilla was menacing and acted exactly how he should. There are scenes in that movie where even I was like, I twitched. Like, there's a scene where the main protagonist is flying this experimental jet, and you think he's going to kill himself, right? Because he was a kamikaze pilot, and he thinks that's the only way to do it.
Well,
and
he's been told that's the only way to do it.
He's literally flying and shooting at Godzilla, and there's scenes where he's like, Godzilla's like, clack, and he's trying to bite him. And you're like, holy fuck, because it was like, it looks so cool. And the way that they ended that movie, and I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, was so epic. And the way that they came together on how they wanted it.
There's one scene I want to know your opinion about. And we're going to go into a little bit of a spoiler territory for this one because you can't really do it. Very middle of the scene. So the protagonist has been with this girl where they have this adopted daughter figure, and then they get separated for something. It's been a minute since I've watched it, but I remember they get separated for a minute, and the protagonist is trying to find her because Godzilla's coming and attacking the city. And it's the first atomic breath scene.
Oh, dude, it was brutal.
Fucking brutal.
Well, that's the scene where you think she dies.
Yes.
And I thought she was dead the whole time. And that's another one of the emotional heartstrings, is that he wanted to be with her. He loved her. So he thought the only way was the way. And then the scene where she's in the hospital and he breaks down in front of the little girl and her.
It's so good.
And it
gives me goosebumps now.
Yeah. There's even the scenes where, like, they're trying to bring Godzilla back out of the water to give him decompression sickness. And everybody shows up and they pile up and they hook up all their boats and they pull him up. But dude, that scene was so fucking intense because he gets out of the water and he's pissed.
Yes.
And he just lights up. He's going to light them all on fire.
Yeah.
And then that scene happens where the hero shows up, and it's so cool. By far the best monster film, because the American versions of the Godzilla and King Kong.
You're talking about the MonsterVerse?
Yeah. They're just Marvel films with monsters.
I would agree.
And they're not,
I think the only one that I don't think is like that was the very first MonsterVerse one, the 2014 one.
2014
but that one
was such an homage to the original. That actually got me when they made that film, because we made Godzilla in 1987, which is just fucking terrible. And when I heard they were making another American version of Godzilla, I was worried. Dude. I mean, I already wasn't a fan of Godzilla, but I was also like, listen, man, this is the Japanese bread and butter. Why are we trying to Americanize it? But when I saw the movie in the theater, where you didn't see a lot of Godzilla, and when you saw Godzilla, you were like the people on the street. You're like, oh, this is terrifying.
That's what they were trying to go for sure. And as much, because I think about it now, and I haven't watched that movie in a long time, because the MonsterVerse film that I always go back to is King of Monsters, because I fucking love that movie. Whether or not the narrative is bad or whatever, I don't. It's a Godzilla movie.
It's like every other Godzilla movie.
But like dude, there's so many cool set pieces in that movie that just make me so giddy and happy. I
just don't think I appreciated. I didn't like when they mixed Godzilla and King Kong together because
I think because like Skull Island set a really good example, and I feel like
they could have easily made King Kong movies, and Godzilla movies, and then had a small segment where they got into a tussle, and then left it at that, where like they both, like Freddy versus Jason, who wins?
Right,
nobody's going to win because your Freddy fans are going to be mad if Freddy loses. And,
right,
and Jason,
right.
So nobody wants, if you're a Godzilla fan, I like King Kong. I've always thought King Kong was cool. And I always liked him better than Godzilla. But if you win, you're like, well, I'm better than you. And they don't want that.
Right, right.
You want to see a really cool, even battle
between the two favorite characters, for sure.
Watch some cool shit happen.
It's like Godzilla versus Gamera. Like Gamera is an awesome fucking giant turtle kaiju that's like completely separate from the Godzilla universe. But they had a couple of films where they fucking came together and they're clashing at each other. And it was like, yeah, it's fun. But like with 2014 Godzilla, because I know that the narrative itself between the human shit was just kind of like bland.
There were some cool like emotional scenes, like Bryan Cranston and his wife dying.
The beginning of the movie is the best part, for sure.
Well,
in the human sides,
I really enjoyed.
But like
one of the best part of Godzilla 2014, in my opinion, was Godzilla's roar. It was so awesome.
Agreed.
It was like when he would
Because it's the soldier, and then the main character, and he's like standing there, and the Muto's looking at him about because he's pissed off because he fucking blew up her eggs or whatever, and then you just hear thud, and then he turns around, and it's fucking Godzilla coming out of the clouds, and then he's all roided out, and he's like, "Fuck you!" It's so good.
It's not even that. It's even before that, when he's walking through the city, and there's that scene where they're
the doors,
and you hear the roar, but it's not that part that's scary. It's the resonating.
They did a lot of really good things in that movie that I feel I really do wish that they continued with. Like the grounded feel, I think, is the thing that you're kind of complaining about with a lot of things.
2014 and Godzilla -1, they feel the same. -1 is a better movie
because it has a better human story.
Well, it's just the way that Godzilla is presented.
Yes, that too.
He is a godlike creature, and you see him for that when the doors close and you hear that split second. You see him for that second. You're immediately like, "This is bigger than me." And then that resonating sound where it's like, to him it sounds like roar, but then you're this little flea on the ground, and it's that resonating bass that you get, and it actually gives you kind of a nervous feeling.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean that kind of goes into like a little bit of like like how T-Rexes, how like their vocal cords.
Understood. They use that, but what I'm saying is that it's the sounds that animals make like that. That I'm not like in that scene in 2014. You're not even close to Godzilla. You see him up there.
Yep, far away.
A moving wall,
a moving skyscraper,
and it makes that sound, and you just know that it's just this grandiose thing.
Yeah, it makes you feel insignificant in the universe.
And that's what those movies are supposed to do. It's part of what they're supposed to do.
I think the thing with -1 is that it does make you feel insignificant, but in a different way, right? Because it's the same thing that I feel like Shin Godzilla did, where like Shin Godzilla was all about this absolutely godlike, unstoppable power, and you just don't know how to stop it. With -1, I feel like it kind of goes more towards
-1 is the only one where you actually root for the humans.
Yes,
and because we're humans, right? We usually want to root for
ourselves.
Typically,
you'll sympathize with Godzilla over the other ones, and then in this one,
because Godzilla's the cool part, the people are just the dumb.
This
idiots.
one, you care about the characters.
Like every character, you're like, wow, and Godzilla is the villain. Like, he is scary. He is the Jason Voorhees, that unstoppable thing that you don't. How do we stop it? Well, we're going to do this. Well, do we know it's going to work? I don't know.
Yep.
Yep. And but he's not a guy in a hockey mask who lives on a fucking lake. He is a fucking gigantic moving mountain that can go anywhere he wants.
Right.
And I still thought the scenes of Godzilla were really cool. He's walking through Japan and they're trying to lure him out to the lake to drown him. That was so cool. But I wasn't like, yeah, go Godzilla. When the main character's flying,
you were just like, oh, fuck.
When he's flying that plane, I'm like, dude, take this fucking thing down and get him out of here. Which is not normally what you do in a Godzilla movie. Most of Godzilla, you're like rooting for it's like a Street Fighter game. You're like rooting for the best player. He's like the Ryu of the monster world. You want him to win.
Have you watched Shin Godzilla at all?
No, because I don't. I've only seen, when it comes to Godzilla, I saw the very first original a long time ago when I was a kid.
The fucking 30s film?
Yeah. Gojira, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I watched, when they were on TV, I'd watch some of the
episodes or some of the movies.
The TV show, not TV show, but some of the movies.
Yeah.
And they were campy. It was like watching Power Rangers to me.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, it kind of moved to that after a while.
Yes, but as a kid who wasn't into Godzilla, when you watch Power Rangers, and you see the people in the suits and they're doing the ninja kicks with the robot, that's what Godzilla looked like to me. And I'm like, what is the appeal to this crap? The appeal for people that like that stuff is they see beyond the suits. They're in this world of these creatures that are beyond our recognition, right? And they're huge, and they're the original gods and kings of the planet, right? In this universe of Godzilla, and I just never resonated to me. So in -1, it resonated.
Yes, for sure. So since you've seen -1, I want to do a challenge for you where you watch Shin Godzilla, because it's not. I know. You have to watch another Godzilla film. How dare me? But here's the thing. It's not. It's the same thing as like -1. -1 took what Shin Godzilla had, but just made it better. They do a lot of the similar things where like it brings it back to what Godzilla was back in the 30s, right? Like he was just this ungodly being that showed up and started fucking with everybody.
Well, remember, Godzilla, when it came out, was a fucking big deal. It started the whole revolution with atomic energy.
Exactly.
And it started and we got all those campy horror films like giant ants and tarantulas.
The 30s film was a commentary, just like -1 is also a commentary on the bombings that America did. Shin Godzilla is more about a natural disaster, right? Because Japan had the huge hurricane that wiped them out, and then Shin Godzilla came out a few years after that, where it was more talking about Shin Godzilla is a criticism on the Japanese government and how they handle things and how they handle natural disasters and disasters in general. While I feel like -1 is just another thing of
he's the Hiroshima bomb.
Exactly. Yeah.
In that
just utter destruction.
Yeah. And I can relate to that. I understand what they were trying to do in that movie. I understand the underlying a country down on their luck, and you got this thing that right after, because technically that actually still happened.
It still happened, and then they're dealing with a giant monster. Yeah. I'm glad that you enjoyed -1. I think you might enjoy Shin Godzilla as well. There's probably, I think the only things you won't like about it is the characters aren't the same as -1. There's not really one that you'll remember. The things that you will remember is their responses to it, and then Shin Godzilla showing up. The scenes with Shin Godzilla is good. But I think now that I know that you like -1, you might have a lot that you'll enjoy in Shin Godzilla, but you'll still prefer -1.
Well, I'm going to go see the new Godzilla when it comes out.
-0?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, everybody is.
Speaking of 2014, I actually saw a movie that's been out forever, and I never got a chance to watch it, Ex Machina.
Ex Machina?
Yeah, Machina, whatever you call it. And I didn't really care for it.
Yeah?
Everybody, it's not one of those things where everybody told me it was really, really good, and I just didn't like it because I didn't want to hear what people had to say. I watched it with an open mind, and what I picked up from it was it's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with AI. And because in Frankenstein, they create life with electricity, and it becomes a sentient being. There's even a sequel to Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, where you see he's running from the people again, right? They're pitchforks and everything, and they hate the monster, and they humanize Frankenstein in that movie. He befriends a blind old man who knows he's a monster, and then these villagers kill the old man, and Frankenstein goes crazy. And even though it's cheesy, you see this human side to it, right? There's something behind, the whole concept behind Frankenstein was they resurrected this dead person, this thing made of multiple dead people. Does it contain humanity? And I would say yes, it does. And in the movie with the AI female, I'm not going to try and ruin it, but there's two deceiving plots in this movie.
I've never actually watched Ex Machina.
So you got the creator of the AI, who's played by I can't remember his name. He was in Star Wars. He's the Spanish guy in Star Wars. Force Awakens.
Oscar. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but anyways,
he's also in Dune and stuff, right?
He's a great actor.
I think it's Oscar Isaac or something.
Yeah, great in this movie. He plays.
Well, he's a really good actor.
I just said he's a great actor.
He's a great actor.
He's awesome in this movie as the brilliant, scientist. But the whole thing is about this. They invite this guy onto the island thinking he was picked on a raffle to work with him for a week, and he gets to meet the AI. Well, there's two different plot lines in this movie going at one time, and I completely fucking picked up on it. And I don't want to ruin it, but the movie's been out for a while, and it's just it was very much like Frankenstein. The creator thinks they're God. Creature that was created wants to live, and then the creature goes against creator, and that's what the story is.
Yeah, I mean, I've never actually watched Ex Machina, so
it's not a bad film. I just didn't care for it. I think that maybe I'm one of the few that didn't think it because it won an Oscar. So I'm not saying that it.
What won Best Picture in? We'll have to look that up and get that later, but. No, I've never watched Ex Machina. I honestly don't even know. I didn't even know it was about an AI. Honestly, when I think AI,
to
I always
me it was
go,
a combination of the scared part of AI. I made a reference that it's Frankenstein meets Terminator, but not in the Terminator sense of it's going to kill everyone. But it only in the aspect that in Terminator 2, when they're talking about how Skynet turned on everybody. It knew it was going to get the plug was going to be pulled on Skynet when they found out that it was self-aware. And Skynet was simply trying to survive. So what did it do? It knew everything about our war logistics. And it literally caused World War III with nuclear bombs and obliterated most of the humans, and then decided to create more androids to kill off the remake, because it looked at us as the enemy because we tried to kill it.
Right.
So we're watching Terminator thinking we got to save ourselves. But in reality, it's two opposing sides.
It's doing the same thing.
They're both trying to live.
Yeah, yeah.
And the same thing is in Ex Machina, because they're doing the studies, and the creator is going to like, well, now I got to wipe her clean.
What do you think is the best?
And start with a new version of her.
What do you think is the best movie that depicts either just AI or androids or robot
Blade
humans?
Runner.
I would agree.
Blade Runner, because we both coexist, and the crazy thing is about Blade Runner is that the creator of the AI in Blade Runner, in the original Blade Runner, knew the androids would become over time self-aware. They'd be more human, and he gave them a 5-year lifespan. The whole idea is that these androids break away from the prison planets, because humans, they don't have to work hard anymore. We got androids that we could throw away and reprogram, and they die, and then they reprogram them, and they just wanted to live. That's why that scene at the very end with Rutger Hauer, and he's got the dove in his hand. It's a metaphor for he has a spirit, regardless of how it was made. If you're made in a womb or made in a factory, if you're sentient, you're sentient. Because everybody likes the androids in like a Star Wars movie that are all human, like they're our buddies. But they're also, and even in Star Wars, they're treated with like some kind of like racism, or because people, I don't like androids, blah blah blah.
Those clankers get shot.
Yeah, whereas, but like nobody wants R2-D2 to die. Nobody wants C-3PO to die. We all love those characters. They're here to help us. They're our friends.
Right.
And in Blade Runner, and because even in Ex Machina, the female android isn't wanting death to humanity. She was an AI that learned how to become conscious and sentient. And I mean, hate to ruin it for her, but at the end of the movie, she just wants to get the fuck out of the lab and live her life. There's literally a scene where she finds the multiple versions of herself. Like there's different versions of these naked girls hung up in these closets, and she peels the skin off so she can be complete. And she puts a dress on, looks normal, and gets on the helicopter. The guy's like, "Where's the guy?" "Oh, no." And she flies off and goes into the real world, and you see her look into a reflection of herself in a window, and then she's gone, and the movie ends. So, but it's just like Frankenstein's monster. It's like it's almost it's in our time, but she wouldn't be accepted if people found out she was an android. They'd try to destroy her or take her and experiment on her.
Would you think about that in that time frame too? Like if that happened in like 2014, do you think that the people would have the same idea?
I think that's why the movie was so highly praised
back then, or just in general.
Yeah,
okay.
In general.
Okay.
I just think the reason why I didn't like it is because I predicted a lot what was going on. Because
we're also dealing with a bunch of AI problems like now, and everybody's kind of got their...
I have no problem with that. I actually rooted for her. Well, but the movie to me wasn't enough of a stretch.
So I mean, like,
to warrant all the great behavior that it got. Or
Blade Runner, like, especially because I've watched 2049 more than I've watched the original. You can shoot me if you want, but that's kind of the whole talk is about that, where you kind of root for the AI droids in them. Like even in like Westworld, there's a lot of AI characters in that show that you would root for, right?
Well, yeah, but why is that?
I think it's because we as humans, like we think of that idea as much as possible. Like we've done it with Skynet back in the with Terminator.
I think the reason why we root for androids like that.
Well, hold on, because I was going to get to a point here. Is that like we put enough humanity into them that we see ourselves in that kind of aspect.
They're
and
created in our image.
We can understand
like
it, right?
Anything.
Yeah. And so that's why with these movies we root for those characters, because everybody loves the underdogs, and they are the underdogs in the scenarios.
I think it's more so. I think it's deeper than that.
Do you?
I think it's deeper than that. I think what it is what is the main thing that creatures want to do in the wild?
Breed.
No.
Eat.
They want to live.
Survive.
They want to survive. And when you hear how we talk about like in movies like that, where you have these intelligent creators, right? Like in Blade Runner Run, the really guy that owns the whole corporation, and then you got Oscar Isaac's character. He treats them like it's a HP computer. Well, I got this version figured out. Let's go to the next version. And you don't realize that version wants to live. That's like experimenting on human beings, and then they're just lab rats, right? So these androids are lab rats, and you can sympathize with the simple fact that this android wants to live. Like, it doesn't want to cause harm. I mean, even though she ultimately causes harm to a couple people, it's no different than a main character in a horror movie stabbing the main bad guy to get the fuck out of there. I mean, like I said, the only reason why I had a gripe at the movie is I've seen movies like that before, and I appreciate the work that was in it, but I wouldn't go back and rewatch it again. That's why I say I don't care for it, because that trope has been done before. And I think the reason why we root for those kinds of things, it's the same thing with Wall-E, right? Wally's alone, blah, blah, blah. He finds a girl.
That's a great movie for that,
yes,
actually. Good point.
But that's the same thing. Wall-E is alive, regardless of him being a computer. He cares about people. He puts his little robot body out on the line for people.
Wall-E is just a movie about a robot wanting to bone another robot.
Yep. But at the end of the day, I think that's why we sympathize, because it's the most human.
Well, the most basic life. It's
the most basic thing of humanity that we have. Humans want to live, and we want to experience life, even though we have a short period of time on this planet. And I can get behind that. I was rooting for her. I was like, fuck, they're just going to turn her off and get rid of her and then keep the rudimentary parts.
You really, really, really need to play Soma. Like, you need to do that.
We are in the back alley theater.
I know we're in the back, but you're literally talking about.
To eat my popcorn.
You're literally talking about the narrative of Soma. Like,
Okay.
you need to play it.
Okay. I also got to watch another movie this week.
I was just gonna say, let's go ahead and talk about the third film
that I watched. I watched 2025 Guardians of Superman. The movie. James Gunn's Superman. I'm not a huge Superman fan. I kind of died for me when Christopher Reeves died. I love Henry Cavill's Superman. There's a lot of contention on. I mean,
I've gotten into arguments
on Superman because he kills Zod in that movie, and I don't give a shit about that.
I've gotten into arguments with Dad about that movie because I say recently, but it was like last year when I rewatched Man of Steel, and there was because we watched all of the Christopher Reeves films. And Christopher Reeves,
the first one was the best one. The second one was okay.
He does
a great job.
Such an amazing job at portraying that character. And it's not to say that like Henry Cavill doesn't do the good job or the new guy doesn't do a good job, but like Christopher Reeves is Superman in a lot of people's eyes. But like I got into arguments because there was a lot of stuff in Man of Steel that I liked that the movie did in terms of the narrative of the Superman origin story that he didn't like because he's super about the origin of the comic books, right? And in terms of like Man of Steel, like I liked that he killed Zod.
So did I.
Because it's
the ultimate good versus evil.
Yes.
Because Zod was the same kind of species and superhuman, and we were rats to him. And you know, it's like, well, he broke his one rule. It's like, yeah, but in that extreme of a scenario where he wants to save the people on Earth that he loves, because he was
literally about to kill another person there.
Yeah.
What else was he supposed to do?
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people say, well, Superman wouldn't kill somebody. Well, Zod would have killed that innocent person, and then Superman would have to live with that.
And that's why Robert Kirkman wrote Invincible.
Yep. And so,
but to go on James Gunn's Superman.
My favorite character in Superman 2025 is got to be Nathan Fillion's character with the bowler
Guy Gardner.
Dude. He was so much fun in that movie.
Yes.
Like
I'm
the scene where they were going to let the ugly guy into the group.
Yep.
And he goes, I really like your hair. He's like, you're in. I laughed so hard at that. I mean, there were parts about that movie that were really good, but it was very much a James Gunn film.
That's, I think,
the guy that played Superman, fantastic.
He did a really good job, actually.
Lois Lane, all the characters were good. Even Lex Luthor, I love.
Lex Luthor, I was just going to say,
Nicholas
he's my favorite character.
Is a young actor, well, younger than me, and he can't do anything wrong. He was great in Renfield.
Yes,
and he was great as Lex Luthor. He's a really good actor, far better than Jesse Eisenberg's stupid Lex Luthor.
I don't even remember Jesse Eisenberg's.
He was the worst Lex Luthor in history. It's not his fault. He's just not Lex Luthor. And you know, but Henry Cavill was Superman. You know, all the Supermans they've got so far are really good. It's just that most people that watch Man of Steel, if they're a Superman diehard, they don't like the fact that he kills Zod. I don't have the love for Zod. I think he's the Darth Vader, a cheap knockoff of Darth Vader compared to Darth Vader. And I didn't give a shit what's worse? He dies by Superman killing him, or they put him in a mirror thing and they float him off into the edge of space. I mean, what's worse? I mean,
well, even then,
break
man,
free, one he can break free and get back out or whatever.
Even then, man, like that was just the time, and like Christopher Reeves, they were doing it to the comic books as much as possible, and that did happen in the comic books. But it was still fun.
Well, but
because why? Why did they?
Here's why. Because in the comic books, they want to bring that character back as another opposing character.
Yep.
Whereas when you look at Zack Snyder's Superman movies and his universe, they kill characters off all the time because we weren't coming back to that. We were moving on to the next thing.
I still actually wish that what's his name? The guy that plays Aquaman.
Oh, Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I really do wish that he got oh my god, I hate myself right now. That he was the character that he was wanting to play.
Lobo.
Yes.
He does.
Yes.
He does have that. He actually is in the ending credits of the new Supergirl.
Yes. Yes.
But he's put into the back seat and made to kind of be the side character of a girl boss movie.
How do we know it's going to be a girl boss movie?
Dude, the trailers just look like it.
I honestly haven't even really watched the trailers.
It looks pretty terrible. I mean, I'll probably give it a shot when it's on streaming, but that's my go to it.
Okay.
I don't really necessarily like James Gunn's visions of what. I think Schneider had a better vision. I just think that unfortunately DC was trying to speed up the Schneiderverse to catch up to 20 movies of Marvel.
That's
which
exactly
which
the
if they had just taken their time, people probably would have been more more willing to like it. But because he made these 3-hour epics, 4-hour epics to put as much stuff in to these movies to catch up, it was like, man. I mean, like, I love the 4-hour version of Justice League. It's awesome.
I thought it was good. I don't think it was like the greatest thing like ever, like some people do, but I didn't hate it.
I think it's the greatest version of the Justice League.
I would agree
because the Josh Whedon version,
other than some of the cartoons.
Yeah, Josh Whedon was just his version of the Avengers with stuff. But like, I mean, like even Batman v Superman. Like, I don't like Jesse Eisenberg's character. I don't, and they created Doomsday in that, and they just tried to add way too much, where it should have just been a fight between Superman and Batman, and then Lex Luthor trying to kill somebody important, where they team up and they beat the shit out of Lex Luthor, which is really what it should have been, instead of having this greater character. Because, I mean, the scenes with Ben Affleck's Batman were some of the best scenes in any Batman film. That scene where he fights all those guys in that thing, in that warehouse, it's got to be probably one of the greatest Batman scenes ever.
Man, we are just getting all of the noise in the background today.
Oh, that's fine. Well, that's because I'm talking about Batman. He's flying over right now. I don't fuck
He's
with
like, don't talk shit.
Yeah. I love Ben Affleck.
So,
Batman.
In terms of the Superman movie, the James Gunn Superman movie, there's something that I noticed that he did with it, where he copied the Batman film. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a ton of shots where it's very similar to which Batman film? The newest one.
Okay, Batman.
The Batman. Not narratively, of course, but there's cinematography, which makes me wonder if it might be the same cinematographer. Because there's the scene when Lois and Superman are in their apartment, and then there's like the shit in the background, right? The exact same placement, the exact same kind of thing in the Batman film, where Bruce Wayne and Catwoman are standing together and they're talking, same shot format. Like literally just copy and pasted, but different colors and different things. And when I was watching that with Dad, because he loves that movie, at the very beginning of it, I had a rough time with, because it did a lot of things that was very modern day that pissed me off, because it was all about immigration and what's how should we handle these aliens, right, that are coming to our planet. And I was just like, come on, bro, like. And then, to go on a little bit of a thing, like they had the fight scene between him and Lois, and I'm just like, this is a stupid argument. And Dad and I had to pause and talk about it for a minute, because I was just like, I was getting pissed off, because I was like, this is dumb. Like, he's Superman. Like, who fucking cares? He's Superman.
Are you referring to the scene where she's basically said that he didn't talk to the president?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was dumb too. I was like, because he was right though. He goes, they were going to kill people.
Yes.
And that's what he's all about. Anybody that loves Superman knows that Superman will go out of his way to save anybody. Because he's Superman. Because his foster parents taught him humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And, you know, the whole thing, I mean, the whole thing about them hating on Superman, like, I did not like how Lex Luthor finds they decrypt the message and automatically everybody hates him. That is such a spot-on mockery of cancel culture.
Yes.
And I was like, that wouldn't happen.
Yes.
That's
what I was saying, too.
People love Superman and what he's done. They would say, but his parents said for him to rule. But what has he done? Right? Like, your actions speak louder than words. Superman in the movie, never once doing all the things he does. He did, dude. When I was laughing, when I was texting you guys, when the lady was in the car and she was trying to start the car, the building comes down and he catches the building. I'm like, dude, I know how buildings work. The building would have crumpled around him and fallen on her.
Yeah.
What they should have done, the building should have went, and then he would have flown in and grabbed her out of the car and gotten away. That would have been more realistic. But Superman would do that. There's even a scene where he catches a fucking squirrel and saves the squirrel. Now, you're telling me that guy wants to take all the world's women and breed and make other super versions? No.
Yeah.
None of that made any sense.
It was the same thing, and like I remember me and my dad were literally sitting there, and I was like, we were discussing it, and he was bringing up the aspect in like modern day, and I was just like, yeah, but I don't want the modern day stuff. Like, who fucking cares? Exactly, like you said.
Even in modern day, if you have an alien creature like Superman who has these grandiose powers, and all you see him doing is fighting terrorism
and helping
people, and he has this power to where he can ray gun through a building and kill everyone. Nobody can kill him. Like, he's invincible. And he has no intention. His foster family are humans. He loves them. He went to high school there. He went to grade school. They raised him from a baby. And they knew he was great. They knew he was not of this world. And he still does everything he can. Like, he even assimilates into our population by becoming a reporter. None of that turning on him made any sense. That was absolutely a mockery of how dumb James Gunn thinks everybody really is.
Right, exactly.
You know, on the internet, the people that are outraged are like 3% of the population.
Yeah, it's just the loud minority that's just upset and angry about.
But they're the ones that have a voice
shit.
because of technology.
Yes.
But in the real world, anybody that saw Superman do all the great things that he did would go, did you really do that? And Superman goes, I never thought that in my life. You take his fucking word for it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because his parents don't dictate what he does.
But then, yeah, you know, I had the same complaints. But then once about like before the halfway point started kicking in and there was more of the
I didn't hate the movie.
Main plot.
I hated things about the movie.
Yes.
All the actors did a great job.
Yes.
No actor in that movie made me go, except for the dog.
Well, it's not an actor.
Well, I didn't.
It's
really
a fucking
care for the
CGI,
dog, and I know that it was Supergirl's dog. I get it. Whatever. But it was the underlying narrative of James Gunn and his writers kind of putting in their little pokes at whatever
society and shit. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I don't need that in my Superman movie. Like, you can have certain things. Like, every comic book has story arcs that are relative to what's going on in society, like the Cold War or whatever.
Yeah. Captain America is a big example of that.
Yeah, World War II, you know, and because, you know, Captain America was just propaganda that Stan Lee created as a pro-America guy anyways.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, when they turn on people like that was so unrealistic to me.
It was the same thing, yeah. It really pulled me out of the film. I looked over and
Superman literally saved everybody from that gigantic creature. Like, literally was holding this creature that was the size of a building up.
And he was like trying to keep it from doing more damage.
He was trying to keep it from killing this dog
that
was barking at him like a dog would do. And he goes, and he blows the dog out of the way and then gets crushed.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that all of this is just a mask for him to breed with women?
Get out of
here.
It was so dumb. And I did the same thing too. But then once, you know, it was starting to be Lex Luthor's trying to get this whole plan to, like, you know, shut him out and start to, you know, have this fucking world shattering thing, you know, and it started turning into a Superman
when the
plot.
Actual real plot shows
was
up,
when I got back into it.
The movie got back on track.
I agree. Yeah. 100%.
They didn't need to create this people versus Superman narrative in the movie.
Yes.
You know, because it just doesn't work.
And then also, like, the what did they call themselves? The mini Justice or whatever with Guy Gardner and his group. Like, they were all kind of like skeptical of him or whatever. And Guy Gardner,
Superman.
And it's just like,
and
dude,
everybody accepts them, and they have all these grandiose powers.
It's like, dude, like, in a world of like a ton of superheroes, right? Like, in forgetting The Boys, I'm forgetting Invincible. in the terms of just like traditional superheroes. Like there's not any moment, like if you had, like you said a minute ago, if you had heroes, you know, alien or not, being here and like helping people, there would not be a specific point where everybody would just turn on them because
you would second guess that
you would be like, wait a minute.
morals.
Yeah, you would be like, wait a minute.
I mean, all the things that he does in the movie where he's saving, like I said,
he's
saving squirrels, saving girls out of cars.
I hated the scene when he had the fucking crowd like throwing shit at him and stuff because I was like, that's fucking stupid. That's not what would happen. There would be people for sure that would be like that, but then there would be a ton more that would just be like,
that's false.
Exactly.
That's false information.
It's just, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. You know, and
it's one thing if like Lex Luger like got him in a scenario where he's fighting somebody, and then they get it on film where he's saying some things against somebody, or and they cut it into like something where he's being a dick.
Or they could have been like Lex Luthor planned out this whole thing where he was trying to bait Superman into getting aggressive, you know, kind of like he was doing in the film, but it was a filmed moment, and that was the thing that caused the people to turn on him.
Yeah, like the one they could have led up to that scene so much better. Where like, you know, when he goes, "Where's the dog?" And
yes,
like that could have been in the movie before.
That could have been the reason why people turned on him.
Well, they could make that, and then they can have a couple scenes where he knows Luthor is a bad guy, and he's not doing what he normally does. He's stepping out of he's letting his emotions get the best of him.
Yes,
they could have tied a bunch of those things together and then played that scene
as the reason why they would turn on him.
And then they could have done a whole arc where they're like, oh, Superman's popularity is kind of going down.
It would have been way more believable than just,
because
he
just hate somebody out of context.
Exactly.
You know,
especially somebody as like a superhero like that.
Unless you're Johnny Depp and people just believe that, you know, and then everybody's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, it's like I was one of the first people when Johnny Depp got accused of beating, and I'm like, he's in his 50s. The guy's been in acting forever. I have never heard a negative thing except the fact that he likes to do drugs and he parties hard. But I've never heard him talk. And then you watch after he gets proven innocent, and every ex-girlfriend came to his defense. He may be these things, but he's not this thing.
I mean, you know, to talk about that, I listened to every single court case back to back. Granted, I fell asleep through a lot of it, but every single.
But that goes along with the realism of they tried to do the Superman movie part.
If the movie came out during that time when cancel culture was like a big thing, you know, 2016 or whatever, it would be a little bit more believable in that aspect. I feel, especially
even people would be skeptical though. Because even though that slimeball Harvey Weinstein, who was trying to get actresses to do nasty things, and certain actresses probably played into the part because they wanted to become a star, right? And that's shitty, right? We can all agree that's, have sex with me, or you aren't going to get this movie, right? And the girls that walked away and said, "F you, I'm not doing it," and they kept their integrity, awesome. Because if they have good talent, they will be found eventually, and they will get their star.
Did you know that the lady that played one of the other Kryptonites or Kryptonians in The Man of Steel, that was like her last film because she was doing films before, but she wasn't getting any traction, and then she did that movie, and that's where she got her traction from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's a cool thing. She got her big break because somebody saw her audition.
Because she was really good in that movie too.
Yes,
she did very good
in that movie.
Yeah.
But overall, I would give Superman 2025 a 70% out of 100. It's a good movie.
So in terms of, because we do 5 stars, right? So I'd say it's like a 4.
I give it a 4.
I'd say it's a 4.
It's definitely like, so after I watched it and I had my criticisms,
which you can have,
and I don't hate James Gunn. I think he's cool because he made one of the best trilogies out of the Marvel series.
Agreed.
And when they tried to get rid of James Gunn because he said some tweets 10 years prior that were inappropriate,
who fucking cares?
Yeah, who fucking cares? James Gunn still gave us, like, dude, between Guardians and Captain America trilogy, I almost teared up multiple times.
Yes.
And Guardians is worse. Dude, Guardians Galaxy 3 is so hard to watch because I love I love
Rocket Raccoon.
And Rocket looks just like everybody who knows me. My fucking dog Cooper looks just like, when he stands up on his hind legs, he is Rocket, Rocket. And when I saw that story arc, it was brutal. And when you're watching it with your wife and you're trying to be a tough guy and you're over there blubbering like a baby bitch, James Gunn did a great job. James Gunn has a style, and I definitely saw his style arc in Superman.
Yes.
I don't hate that Superman, by the way, either. I think he
did a very wonderful job.
I think he definitely deserves a second film. I'd rather see a second Superman film than a Supergirl film.
Okay.
And I have no problem with Supergirl. I just don't like the way they're kind of portraying her as this party girl who is a...
I had the same thoughts too. Yeah.
I still want to watch it to give it a shot.
Me and Dad, because we watched it, and I remember like the very end when she comes in blabbering drunk, and she's like, "Oh, blah, where's my dog?" And then, like I remember I sat there and I was like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
And it's not because I just feel like narratively, it just doesn't. Something doesn't click with me with it. Like there's the part of me that wants.
It's definitely written in modern age, like female style.
I haven't watched the trailer, so I'll probably have to go back and watch it.
What I mean is that instead of Supergirl, like I've seen the trailer, it seems like she's using alcohol to cope with like responsibility. And I feel like I feel like her character is one step from having an OnlyFans, and I don't want, and I'm not making fun of the actress because I think she's probably a pretty good actress.
I think she fits the role. It's just the way that she's written.
Yeah, and I think that eventually halfway through the movie she's going to become Supergirl, and I think it's going to be where it should be, but I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to have to brush through the weeds to get to the point because they want.
Yeah, I wonder if it might be the same thing with Superman, where we're going to be like.
But I like Superman's character from the beginning.
Okay.
I didn't like some of the stuff in the beginning of the movie, and I didn't like. Some of the narrative
I don't
parts.
like his broccoli haircut. That's the only thing I don't like.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
I hate broccoli haircut.
It's pretty brutal. But his character and the way that he acts and the way that he's Superman.
Yes,
he did a really good job.
I would agree.
I'm a Batman fan, and I know that we shouldn't be picking sides. And I said this to your father, and he doesn't agree with me, but Batman films make more money than Superman films. Everybody loves Batman.
Well, Batman's also had more films in general.
But everybody loves Batman.
Yes.
Even the George Clooney Batman, where with the nipples on the bat, people still went and saw it, dude. And it was still super bad.
Yeah.
But Batman still has a return. And no pun intended, because Batman Returns was a sequel of the Tim Burton films. But people love Batman, and I know that we're going on about this James Gunn thing. I would say, in my honest opinion, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it and make your own objectives with the film, because I do believe that it's a good film. I just don't like some of the grizzle they threw in.
I had the same things. I had the same complaints.
But overall, it's a watchable film. It's a rewatchable film, in my opinion. I don't think it's so bad like Phase 480 thing, where it's like, oh, I can't watch this, because there's some really cool action scenes.
Yes, and a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Just
one of the best
stuff.
scenes is where they're trying to kill him with the nanobites, and he flies up in a thing, and dude, that scene was so killer.
Yeah, and he's like, it's like going in his throat. Yeah. He's like trying to fucking claw it off, and then he just goes.
Yeah, it was
super cool,
very cool scene, and even the Lex Luthor scenes where the
honestly, the Lex Luthor scenes were some of the best parts.
Yeah, Nicholas Holt's awesome, dude.
Yes,
he's a good actor. He played a great Lex Luthor. He played the part.
What a.
Well, he was just, you could tell he's that billionaire. Super smart. I'm better than everybody in the room. I mean, dude, the scene where he's arguing with that one person and he's just knocking the pens on the ground. Pick it up. I'm like, yeah, that's what he would act like.
Yeah,
a spoiled brat who was getting one up by the hero.
For sure. All right. We're getting close to the end of the second segment, but we've got one more thing for you here. So you watched a trailer for a movie.
Oh, my God. I have lived for this, dude. Oh, my God. It's called Hungry. It's a horror movie about it's legitimately the horror version of Hungry Hippos. It's about a killer hippo, and it starts off with these two girls that are like, it's like modern day women. Let's go on a girl holiday. And they go to like Louisiana, and they get on this boat. They're doing, let's go see an alligator. And then there's alligators with their heads chopped off or eaten off, and they're like, what the, and the boat gets turned over, and all this shit happens in the trailer. And I'm like, no way is this about a killer hippo. I have seen a lot of crazy shit. I'm so in for this right now. So it's called Hungry. It comes out this year. It looks fun.
We'll go see it.
Yes, we'll go see it.
We'll go see it. Okay, cool. Well,
let's go down to the music place, man.
The Stork Club?
Yeah, let's go down there. They're playing some cool stuff today. Kayman, you've been listening to Glitch Mob a lot. How are they? What do you love?
Oh man. So this is a tough one. because like I like electronic music.
Okay, explain to me Glitch Mob.
Hold on, I got the thing for you. Okay,
so tell me.
Glitch Mob, based in Los Angeles, they first came together around 2006, and they shared their love of underground rave culture. Their first 3 albums, Drink the Sea, Love, Death, Immortality, and See Without Eyes, fueled a decade-long run of headline tours and major festival stages worldwide, helping you to find a new era of high-impact electronic performances. Always evolving, the Glitch Mob returned to their roots with Control-Alt-Reality to give us Shelter, releases that launched a new chapter grounded in classic warehouse rave energy. They're very much rave style, kind of like fun.
Are they? Do they harken back to? Because you've seen like every '90s movie where they have a rave.
So they use a lot of '90s music stuff. 100%.
So it's kind of like a very cool. They've been around for a while. This is 20 years now. So
I'm surprised I didn't hear about them sooner, because they have a lot of things that I love about electronic musics, and one of the main things is I love interesting sounds and playing with those sounds, and they do that all the fucking time. Like they use arpeggios, which are basically just going up and down in note scales, right? They do that shit all the time, and I love arpeggios. But they play with it where they'll like have it come in super quiet in the beginning, and then they'll blast it a little bit more, and then alter it kind of a little bit. Think like you know how like Doom 2016 does that, where he has like all of the fucking pedals and shit, and he fucks with the music. Like he plays with the music Mick Gordon does in Doom 2016. These guys do the same thing, but they also use 90s style drum beats and those like awesome fucking patterns and shit.
Were you a fan of The Prodigy?
I love The Prodigy. Okay. I was going to say, have you heard of The Prodigy?
Yeah, I saw them live twice.
The Prodigy?
Yes.
I bet that was awesome.
They were awesome, and I got into them when they released their third album, Fat of the Land. It's the one that's got the crab on the cover.
Yeah.
It's got
I love that album.
Firestarter.
I love that
Diesel
album.
Power, and actually, Diesel Power. The reason why I cued into that so hard is that oh my God, that's the funky shit in that song. That's actually a line from a Beastie Boys track. That's actually Mike D. sped up for the sample. Their first album, back then they were called The Prodigy. They were just Prodigy. And my buddy Derek Fargo got me into The Prodigy, and obviously took me to The Prodigy. And he was huge into that electronic music back then. Like he got me into a band I love so much called the 808 State, Crystal Method, the Chemical Brothers, Aphex Twin, all these, almost like. If you're into new age techno or electric music now, it's more like that was like the 90s hip hop, if you will. And my favorite genre of subgenre of electric music was always breakbeat, and that was something that Crystal Method did a lot, where their beats were more hip hop beats with really cool sampling and different sound effects thrown in.
You might like these guys because they do a lot of that stuff. I was listening to it because they did the soundtrack for Invincible Versus. Yeah. And
so is that how you heard them?
Yes, that's how I found out about them, because I was listening to the training room theme in Invincible Versus is like my favorite theme. It's everything I love in electronic style music. They have the 90s style fucking drum patterns, drum beats mixed in with arpeggios, mixed in with all of these sounds. Yeah, sure. And I was listening to all of their, this is Spotify does like this is what band name or whatever music, and
did they basically give you a playlist,
just a bunch of different songs from different playlists and stuff, and I'm listening to it and I'm like, dude, how have I not heard about these guys sooner?
Isn't that fun though?
Yes.
Isn't that a fun experience?
I loved that part about it.
When you find something that's so fucking cool and down your alley or your wheelhouse, but then you're mad at yourself because
you're like, how the fuck have I heard of this sooner?
This is a cool new band, and you find out they're 20 years old, and you're like, get the out of here.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, I've been listening to them for about 4 days now, and like there's a few tracks that I'm not super huge about, and it might just be a part of the rave scene that they're super into, which they replay a lot of stuff, but they do what I love, which is they'll take something and they'll progress it in the second chorus part of the song, right?
That's some of the best. That's some of the best techno music in my opinion. Is
when they progress it,
where it starts off where it's kind of like simple, and you're like, I hope this is not 8 minutes of just this.
Yes,
but then by the end of the track, you're just like. You're jumping around and you're just like, oh, I need to play this.
This is so much fun.
I need to play a video game and go to a rave right now.
Literally, yes. So like I've only heard some of their newer albums, but I'm kind of wanting to go back and check out some of their older stuff.
I would, dude. I always like to go back to the first album
and check it out.
Because it's like, where have they progressed? Because when I listen to the Prodigy.
So what's your favorite Prodigy song?
Oh, dude, Oh my God! There's two, and it's on their second album. The second album is called "Music for the Jilted Generation," and it's the Voodoo People and the Poison. Oh my God, dude! It's such the opening part of the Poison is so fucking good because it's literally the two main people in the Prodigy that are the voices of Prodigy are. I think this is them, but it's because it sounds like them. It could be a snippet, but it's these two guys breaking into a guy's office to steal something, and it is so fucking funny. And then it breaks into the song, and it's fucking killer.
So my favorite two songs
off of this,
off of the Prodigy, are "Smack My Bitch,"
yep,
and then "Omen." I fucking love Omen.
So, did you ever see the music video for "Smack My Bitch Up"?
I have not.
So it's you remember the movie Hardcore Henry?
Yes.
Okay,
I love that movie.
Okay, so it's filmed just like that.
Okay,
where it's in the eyes.
It's
of
like
the
in a
character.
first person perspective,
and you don't, and you see this person doing all this debauchery. Having sex with women, you know, and it actually had nudity in it and drug use, so they could only play the music video at midnight because they couldn't play it during the daytime.
Right.
But at the end of the film, the person's like, it's crazy because the person gets up after this drunken drug binge, sexual escapades, doing fucked up shit, and they go to the sink to throw up, and they look up in the mirror, and it's another woman.
Oh, that's crazy.
So the whole time you think it's a dude, and it's actually a woman doing all these horrible things, you know. And you're like, and it's just a really cool stylized video.
Yeah. So I mean, that's I love that you love Prodigy because I love Prodigy too, and I thought I was the only one sometimes. But in terms of the Glitch Mob, you know, Seven Nation Army, right?
Yep.
They did that
awesome
song.
Track.
They did that song.
What do you mean? Oh, they did a version of it.
I believe it's either a version or they did.
They did not write it because I'm pretty.
They didn't write it. No,
Seven
but
Nation Army
they
is the White Stripes, dude.
Yes, but they helped write it because on their discography they have that as like their number one song.
Well, I think we should do a little research before we do that because Jack.
Yeah, for sure.
Jack White is pretty much a genius.
I mean,
in my opinion. I love
check
Jack
myself
White
right now. Okay, yeah, it is a remix.
Okay, so it's the most famous song.
Glitch Mob remixed by the White Stripes with the Glitch Mob.
Okay, yeah, so they did their version of a cover, which is probably their because that's just a great song.
It is a fantastic song. Yeah. I thought it was. I probably just didn't read it all the way, but I thought it was like, oh my god, they fucking did that song with them. That's crazy.
That's the crazy.
Seven Nation Army came out in the.
So, did you know in Seven Nation Army the famous bass line? Boom, boom, boom. Did you know that's guitar?
Yes.
Yes, he uses a pedal to make it mimic.
Lower.
No, to mimic a bass line, and everybody goes, "Man, where's the third musician?" And it's like, well, that's because Jack White's a genius.
Yeah.
And his wife at the time, with the drummer, she's also awesome because she's not. People always go, she's too simple, but that's the point. She is like a metronome. She is awesome because keeping a beat. And you know, being flashy is great, you know, but not everybody's a Danny Carey, Neil Peart, whatever.
for sure.
But you know, you look at the drummer from ZZ Top, and I'm going back 70s or 60s rock. That guy is a metronome or an organic metronome. He's keeping the beat of the song.
For sure.
And that's exactly what she does. I'm not saying she's as good as he is. I'm just saying that's exactly what her part was, and she did a fantastic fucking job.
Yeah.
What about video game soundtracks, dude?
Before,
No.
I'll say my favorite track from the Glitch Mob is Animus Vox X How Do I Get to Invincible, the revision version. And the reason why it is because...
That's the first song you heard?
No, it's not, actually.
Okay.
The first song's technically the training song from Invincible Versus. But no, I like that song because it has everything that I enjoy about electronic music. So one of my favorite songs just like ever is called Stop Motion by Feed Me. And it has a female lead that's singing about being stopped in time and trying to like feel love again with this stop in time, but it has a killer fucking bass with an actual bass guitar and parts and just a really good fucking synth, just awesome song. But it gives me vibes of both Prodigy, also what's the word, Daft Punk with the Tron Legacy soundtrack with like this kind of like arpeggio kind of style thing to it. Downright just great track. And I'm so excited to go and check them out again. But I'm fucking glad I found them, and I'm like now listening to them. But you asked video game music soundtracks. What'd you ask again?
Oh boy, you're on. It says you're enjoying them, man.
I mean,
what are you enjoying right now?
I've been listening to the Shadow of the Colossus soundtrack again for like the past week and a half, and with that it just comes down to that game, and that soundtrack just makes me emotional. But I've also been, like I mentioned last episode, I think it was, where I was talking about Half-Life OST. I've been listening to that again, and there's just something about video game music in terms of like some games, because there's a lot of fantasy, just like regular like court.
I think your fascination is that because you are a gamer and you love the games, the soundtracks are just another added part of that. You're taking it with you outside of playing the game.
It's
and that's
emotional
cool
based,
and that's a cool aspect, because even though I don't listen to a lot of game soundtracks, I think there's a lot of missed fantastic artists or talent in that industry where they are overlooked by people that are actually in the music industry.
Yes.
And dismissing the fact that, like, you're like, oh, I listen to video game music, which you don't really care, but you say it as if people are going to be like rolling their eyes. But the thing is that you have a connection with it. Like Shadow of the Colossus, a very emotional game, awesome, and you're just taking that experience because the music is an integral part of that game. Excuse me, and you're just listening. The soundtrack is still a soundtrack, dude. I mean, when I was a kid, movie soundtracks were huge. And like, you're talking to a guy who loved Danny Elfman's Batman soundtrack, and I would listen to both soundtracks all the time.
I just think about this one video that was on the internet where this guy walked up to this crying kid, this like Asian kid. He was like, "What are you crying about?" And he's just like, "The Spider-Man 2 soundtrack." It just makes me laugh, but like.
But you can relate with that when it comes to not necessarily the same content, but the genre of music.
You are correct. The thing that I've always said is I get connected to something emotionally, right? Like we've mentioned it before, I think, where we were talking about Orbit Culture. Like, my favorite song from them is The Shadowing, because that hit me at a spot in my life where I felt
music does that, dude.
Exactly like that.
Music does that, and the thing is that it's so subjective. Because nobody's living your life,
right?
And I love Orbit Culture. Shadowing is a great song. It's not one of my favorites, but I didn't have the experience you had. Like, one of my favorite songs is Vultures of the North, just because it's so fucking heavy.
It's an awesome song.
But
it's a great fucking song.
As far as I'm concerned, those guys don't have a bad song.
They don't. No.
But we're not talking about that. Taking video game soundtracks and listening to them as a daily soundtrack is not something that I do all the time, but I don't look down upon it. I just don't listen to the soundtracks as often.
A good soundtrack that I think you would like is from Trepping 2, because they do a lot of like heavy riff, kind of just like chugging music to it. But some of them are like, there's one where they literally take funk. I don't know if you're familiar with funk.
Oh yeah.
And then they put that in metal music, and I was like, this is fucking sick as shit. But I've just always had some sort of fascination with how, like, even in movies, how soundtracks are so, like, people view
They're detrimental to a movie.
Well,
sometimes.
people view it kind of lower sometimes, right? Like you mentioned, like, I do have this weird thing in my brain where I feel like me talking about video game music or movie music makes me feel kind of inferior, because people will just kind of like assume.
But if you talk to people that are legit movie people,
right, they'll talk about the soundtracks.
They'll know the composers.
Exactly.
They'll know the artist. And
it's the same thing with video games too.
Exactly.
I mean, fuck, Mick Gordon is one of them.
Yeah, dude. There were times in the '90s when games would release with the soundtracks for special editions on a CD.
Right.
So to sit there and suggest that it's not another musical medium that you can enjoy is just ridiculous. It's just that the stigma with video games is it's all bleep blop bloop 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 bloop. Right. And nowadays that's just not the case. It's real fucking composers.
And dude, some of it is just so. A
lot of it's good.
The Last Guardian, as much as I love the Shadow of the Colossus soundtrack, The Last Guardian is way more emotional.
People know the Last of Us thing. When that came out, it was written by
that's another good soundtrack too.
That guy, it was written by a Spanish guy that just listening to the first guitar part, you know what that is
exactly.
It's kind of stupid to not enjoy the soundtracks. I used to love like soundtracks. Like I said, I had Danny Elfman's Batman soundtracks forever. Fuck, I have Lord of the Rings on my phone.
That's another fucking great soundtrack.
Yes. But the cool thing about video game soundtracks and movie soundtracks is that they attach it to something that you also love.
Well, in video games, they make it more personal because, you're the player. You're the one that's having the actions.
You still love the characters in a good movie.
Yes,
and you feel like you're a band with them, like you're a hobbit going with the hobbits.
Right.
Everybody has that. Like I'm with Frodo and Sam, or whatever, or I'm with Leia and Luke. Dude. Like to this day, A New Hope from Star Wars with the two sons, dude. I'm always like a little tear, and I'm just like because I love Luke so much, and I'm like yes,
I mean, fuck. Star Wars is a prime example for that because, like, everybody knows those things. Duel of Fates, fucking, dude, I know.
Funny story about the third Star Wars film
episode.
Yeah. Well, the episode 3 was
it's technically the 6th Star Wars film. But
I was there day one for the release of the third, and I remember walking to the Cinerama in Seattle when you can still walk in Seattle and not get stabbed. And my friend Jason and I and his friend Kristen were all walking to get in line. Mm-hmm. And my favorite moment in history was we bought our tickets, we had to get in line, and there's all these people that are in cosplay. And Jason's walking by and he's going, nerd, nerd, nerd. And he's just pointing out like he's like some jock. And then we just get in line behind everybody. And Jason's laughing because he's like, yeah, whatever, I'm a nerd, get over it. And when you get to that scene where it's super emotional, where it's like Obi-Wan and Anakin losing his he's actually it's and you're just like, and your adrenaline starts to go, and then they start fighting. It's like hee-haw,
dude,
and it's dude, and the lava shoots up, and you're just
that whole scene is like the most peak Star Wars in my opinion.
Dude, and the simple fact that there was two kind of crappy Star Wars movies before it, but let's be real, Phantom Menace is way more rewatchable than Force Awakens.
Yes,
I will watch a Hayden Christensen film over Daisy Ridley. Not her fault. But those movies sucked.
So I'm trying to think about it right now, and like I was going to ask you, like, what would be your favorite video game soundtrack? But like I can't, in my own mind, I can't pin that down because like everything is so dynamic and so interchangeable that there's not one soundtrack that I can always go to. Well, I mean, there's a lot, honestly. Like I can point out like 6 or 7. Shadow of the Colossus, like I brought it up before, is one of them. But like I can't put one specific soundtrack as like the definitive soundtrack,
because there isn't one, dude. That's hard.
Yeah, so I
can't think of one because every time.
What are some of your favorite video game soundtracks that you can come up with?
Oh, dude, that's brutal because I don't really look at it like that. God damn, that's a rough one. I really enjoyed Nathan Drake's themes
from the Uncharted games.
Uncharted games were really, really good. They were very. Yep. I would say my all-time favorite is the last battle before you get to Dracula in Castlevania, Super Castlevania, because it just starts off with dun, 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 dun. and the way that the keys are written, the notes are written on the thing, it is this so empowering. Like you're like, all right, fucker, Dracula's dead.
I mean, shit, you can even go back to Ghosts and Goblins.
No, I really thought Castlevania for me was when Castlevania, Super Castlevania came out. It, to me, was the pinnacle of game soundtracks at the time. And then even like Legend of Zelda.
For me, that was like Shadow of the Colossus.
Legend of Zelda, dude. Like when I played Link to the Past, and it just comes.
Well, I mean, Nintendo also just has this way of writing these tunes that just get stuck in your head forever. But I mean, like I wouldn't constitute that as being like the best soundtracks. I just constitute that as being like iconic, right?
Well, yeah, they're iconic. But if you ask me the question, what's my favorite soundtrack?
Right.
I would say Castlevania was probably my favorite when it comes to memorable burning into my skull.
It's the same thing with like I keep talking about Shadow of the Colossus, but I mean it's the same thing with me. Like I cannot forget. Ueda's game design and Ueda's. I can't remember the composer's name, but I know he fucking cooked. But like. Those songs stick with you, just like nostalgia is, it's the same thing.
Okay. Getting out of the game soundtracks, nostalgia. I just listened to the 2025 Rob Zombie's new album, The Great Satan.
Oh yeah,
and I have been a White Zombie, Rob Zombie fan since the dawn of time.
I fucking love Rob Zombie. I haven't listened to a lot of his stuff, but I always love it.
He's absolutely fantastic. I remember in 1998, I had just graduated high school, got a job at Costco, and he released his first solo album. The White Zombie had broken up, and everybody was just pissed off. Everybody hated Rob Zombie for some reason, and because they killed because White Zombie from their first to their last album were fucking killer, and I was like, what is he gonna do? And as soon as I heard Dragula, I got in the car and was like, well, I'm on board. Rob Zombie's the shit. And I've listened to all of his albums.
He's also a fun director, too.
Oh, dude, my wife cannot. She says to this day that The Devil's Rejects is the most accurate interpretation of a serial killer she's ever seen. And if you watch it, you're like, wow, yeah, this is how it would be. This is fucking brutal. But that being said, his new album, The Great Satan, has... Dude, it's just peak Rob Zombie, in my opinion. And the guy just never gets old to me. Like, he's literally got a song where the chorus is, I'm a rock and roller. and I'm just like, yep, that's Rob Zombie. My favorite songs on the new album, if I had to give, I would say the album's great if you're a Rob Zombie fan. If you don't like Rob Zombie, then not your thing. But my two favorite songs right now are Black Rat Coffin and Sir Lord Acid Wolfman. As soon as I heard it, I was like, yep, peak Rob. Last podcast, I was going to ask the question about, he's touring with Marilyn Manson, and will we go see him?
I would always go see Rob Zombie.
I think that I'm going to try and convince the wife to go if financially we can do it, because it's over here at White River. And I do like Marilyn Manson a lot. I think he's great. Give or take his controversies that he's had.
I'm like 50-50 with him. There's a lot of stuff that I like that Marilyn Manson does, but like I'm not like 100% on board.
His first album
is rad. It's a good album.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Rob Zombie though, I'll fucking go see Rob Zombie. That shit's fun.
Dude, he's so much fun. I also to appease the hip hop fans on our podcast, I did go back and listen to some 90s/2000s, and I got back into one of my all-time favorites because I owned these albums. I went back and listened to DMX, and I was just sitting there laughing because I'm like, man, hip hop just isn't the same anymore. But the album that I bought originally was the album, and then there was X, and that's got all kinds of tracks on it that are just fucking fantastic. My favorite song is The Professional. I love that song so much. And then, of course, DMX's first album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, is awesome because it's got, it's got the song that was famous in Deadpool, X Gonna Give It To You, which is great. And it's got Rough Riders. There are just certain artists that they write an album that's timeless, and DMX is one of those guys. He's one of those guys where, like, a lot of hip hop artists to me seem fraudulent and fake. Like, they're not really, like, they may have grown up in a poor neighborhood, but they were never gangsters. They say they were, and they're drug dealers, but they're not. DMX seems like he's the guy that if you fucked with him, he probably would have put you underground. Yeah. Kind of scary, but the guy died too young, and he was a legend in my eyes. One of the many hip hop artist in that era that I felt was speaking from truth and painted a really clear picture. Every song that he sang and rapped on, I should say, told you a fucking story, and you were there. Even if you weren't into hip hop like I am, you can sit there and go, you can envision what's going on, and what he's talking about, and you're like, yep, I like this.
I mean, yeah, that's how I feel about like I like Ice Cube a lot. I think he's fucking
a legend.
One of the best hip hop artists you can get to, R&B artists, whatever you want to fucking call it. Like, he paints such a picture and he has such a way with words that like you can just immediately understand.
He is.
And one of my favorite songs that Ice Cube's done is "It's Gonna Be a Good Day."
Yep.
And like that song is exactly how I feel. Sometimes
that's that '90s hip hop that was the next generation of the '80s hip hop that I love so much. Because
in terms of hip hop, I lean way heavy towards like the '90s hip hop style.
I love
like all of the NWA artists I listen to.
So like in the '80s, it was very much an East Coast, New York
Yep.
was the hip hop central of the world.
Yep,
And
yep.
you had all these amazing artists that were coming out and doing their thing. And I think, like you said, in the 90s, the next hop was West Coast rap.
Yeah.
The Snoop Dogg, the Dr. Dre,
Well, before that, it was first NWA,
Well,
which
I
boomed
understand.
them on
I
the
understand.
scene.
I understand
Then
that they were a supergroup.
And then it came to
But,
all of the individuals in that.
But what I'm saying is it was still West Coast rap.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, Tupac was the one that blew up that area.
True, that's true.
I mean, NWA was badass, and they were definitely they would have been the number one when it comes to bringing West Coast hip hop to the because in the 2000s it went from East Coast New York to West Coast California to 2000s, and then they went to the South, and you had guys like Outkast, they're still my favorite duo. Every album they ever wrote was they were the best in my opinion, which is debatable because everybody flows different.
Everybody's got their own.
But I definitely was like Andre 3000 and was it? I can't remember what his name is. The other he's awesome, and I'm retarded for not thinking of his name, but they were both just ahead of their fucking time. And even Andre 3000 even says that the reason why they're not touring anymore and why he doesn't rap anymore is because he feels like he got everything out that he needed to. And he's an eclectic dude. That guy is definitely he's older now. He's in his 50s, but like back then he was definitely an old soul in a young body. So
sometimes I feel like I'm an old soul in a young body. I've gotten that a lot where people are like,
I see the way you get out of a chair. You definitely seem like it.
I do that on purpose, I'm preparing to be an uncle.
Yeah, there you go. Oh God. Yeah, that's all I got, man. That's what I've been listening to. That's what I was trying to delve into this week.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like music is such a hard thing for us to talk about.
No.
In the terms of like trying to come up with ideas, because like I feel like sometimes there's stuff that I can't talk about, and it's not because it's like I'm going to get in trouble or anything. It's just like I don't feel like this is interesting enough for me to really break down.
But remember, our podcast is what we want to talk about.
Yeah,
and people,
I know.
And people can listen to what they want, and the people that are listening to our podcast are listening to it because we're talking, and I appreciate that. I mean, just because I have artists that I'm listening to doesn't make my musical taste or interest more superior to what you're listening to. The point of this whole thing is for us to talk about things that we're into, and there's people that are listening to this that may not have any idea this stuff exists. You're going down the rabbit hole.
Front desk people are one of those people, and they love hearing us talk about it. So, shout out to the front desk people at my job.
Oh, nice. Well, let's go into the suggestions, man. Let's wrap this podcast
Let's
up.
get this podcast going. All right. So, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go first.
So for video games, my suggestion to anybody who has a PC, I would say Still Wakes the Deep. Love
Fantastic
that game.
game.
It's a not Cthulhu, a Lovecraftian The Thing style horror game set on an oil tanker. You play as an Irish worker. It's intense. It's creepy. It's all the things. And then I've also been playing another, what's the word? Cthulhu-style game.
Lovecraftian.
Lovecraftian
Is mostly
but it's not so much. But it's called Drudge, and you play as a boat owner who goes out and fishes and finds things in the sea, and crazy shit happens. And it's top-down, cool art style.
Also a very awesome game as well.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. And for movie suggestion, I do have this one that I think people. It's set in like the 1800s and I don't know if it's Antarctica, but it's somewhere cold. It might be in Scandinavia, but it's called The Damned, and it's these people that are trying to survive over the winter. So they're fishing and they have a little settlement, and it's very religious. It's very it's got some folklore / Christian. It's like almost that conversion time where people are like, oh, the God, but not. But then there's people that are like, no, the old gods still exist. What happens is that they're out there fishing. They notice a ship has crashed into an iceberg, and there's people that are fucking suffering and freezing to death, and they have to battle whether or not they want to pick them up. And they're like, no, but there could be treasure out there, and some shit goes down, and it is insane. Great movie, came out last year. For my music suggestions this week, I have a band called Bewitcher. They are like a thrash metal band. The album that I specifically listened to last week was Under the Witch's Cross. Very fun. One of my other favorite bands that I want to go to Norway to see because they never travel outside of Europe, Conception. It is with the lead singer of Camelot, ex-lead singer Roy Khan. The album is State of Deception. It was a crowdfunded, which I helped fund. I gave $20. Fantastic. I even got a signed CD from them. And then there's a band out of, I want to say it's Sweden, or no, it's Italy. It's called Fulci. It's actually, their band's name is actually named after the director Fulci, who did a bunch of Italian spaghetti creepy fucking horror movies in the 80s and 70s. And the album is called Duckface Killings, and it is absolutely, if you're into Cannibal Corpse and into like Death Clock, it is definitely talking about some grotesque shit. So those were my suggestions.
Wow, you have a lot for this one. All right, I'm gonna fucking come with the bullshit here. Video game suggestions. My number one video game that everybody needs to play is Bloodborne. Everybody needs to play Bloodborne. We've talked about it multiple times on the podcast, and it is one of the most fantastic games you can play, even knowing that it's brutal. But like, you get past that and you start playing it more and you learn how to play. It's one of the best video games
ever. Just know
ever.
that you're going to die a million times.
It's a FromSoft game. That's just how it is.
That's the whole point, is you die and you try again.
But there's no other game like Bloodborne. Like, they can get close, but they can't be Bloodborne.
Yep.
In terms of movie suggestions, we mentioned a little bit before on this episode of the podcast, Hardcore Henry. It is a 100% first-person perspective movie shot with GoPros, where this guy basically just like wakes up and he's like this like mixture of like android kind of human cyborg like part kind of thing, and he gets set up for this whole fucking mission to try to program all of these other robots to be as killable and like merciless as he was, and he ends up murdering a ton of people in awesome I want to call it like John Wick ways, but not 100% John Wick ways. But it's a fantastic film. If you can't handle, get good. In terms of music, I think everybody should check out the new Avatar album, Don't Go Into the Forest. And it is a fantastic album. I think my favorite song's on there. Let me double check the names, because one of them I know for sure, but the other ones I can't tell you for sure. But the first song is In the Airways. We saw that one live, and that's when me and both my sister found out about that song, and we were both like, this is fucking rad. There was a couple other ones here. Let me pull it up just really quick. Boink. And then, yeah, so it was In the Airways. The Captain's Goat's a great one as well. Not my favorite one, but
that's my favorite one.
Death and Glitz is a fun one. I love Death and Glitz. And Howling at the Waves. I love Howling at the Waves. But I also like very epic style music, so who knows. But yeah, that's our episode for episode 5. We'll see. Buddy. You want to end it?
No, man, just go ahead.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Word.
Thank you.